Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about...
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
English, mother...
Body, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Let's put a smile on that face.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Film Room. My name is Scott. I'm here with my boy Dion, and today we're doing Captain Phillips. Because this is our first episode, I just kind of wanted to let you know what this show is going to be, how it's all going to unfold. So basically, every week, Dion and I we're gonna take a movie and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna go through it scene by scene, give you our thoughts, we noticed on screen, things we liked, didn't like, whatever. We're gonna go more in depth into characters, director, anything that we really found interesting or that jumped out at us. We're gonna give you some interesting facts, if anything cool in our research jumped out, and then we'll have our filmies. So these are our awards at the end of the show that we're going to give out to different people, different parts of the movie. Don't worry, when we get there in this episode, you'll see all this in this episode. But when we get there, we'll explain what every award is. So don't worry about that. And yeah, man, I'm really excited. We've had a few practice things, and we unfortunately had runs. Yeah, we unfortunately had an SD card situation and actually lost what was going to be our first episode. But yeah, I mean, episode 1, you excited, man?
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. I mean, again, like you said, we had our episode. We were actually in person. Like this one, we're clearly doing it through the internet. We were actually in person. We set up a whole thing. We had our mics. We had our cameras. We tested it too.
I know, man. Ugh.
And then after the test, 2 hours just down the drain.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't say down the drain because again, we got a practice run in.
Yeah.
And it was hang out. It's not like
yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was like, oh, I had to be a Dion for nothing for a couple hours. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I will say too, you know, if you're looking for expert analysis, you've come to the wrong place.
We're not movie critics.
Yeah, we're not film critics. We've never worked on a movie. You know, we're not experts at all. We're just a couple guys that really like movies, lots of different genres. So we like to watch them and talk about them, basically. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. We'll throw in some different episodes too. We have some ideas for some fun stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But we're just gonna have fun with it, and we hope you guys do too. Let's get it going, I think.
Let's get into it.
All right. So Captain Phillips. The starring Tom Hanks, directed by Paul Greengrass, 2013 release, that is based on the real story of Richard Phillips, who is a captain of the Maersk, Alabama, a cargo ship that went around Africa and got attacked by Somali pirates. And then Richard gets captured by the pirates, and there's this whole hostage situation, and it's like I said, based on the true story. So Richard Phillips wrote a book after this, called A Captain's Duty: Somali Pirates, Navy SEALs, and Dangerous Days at Sea. First of all, horrible title. Like that's like 20 words, man. That's so not catchy. Like a captain.
No, it's really not.
Come on, man. What were your general thoughts of this? Have you seen this movie before?
No, this is actually my first time. This is my first time. Okay, yeah. No, my thoughts on the movie initially was good. Like I remember all the memes, like the whole when the movie came out. But I don't know, it was weird though, because like you'd think that all the memes would make you curious. Because I went to the movies a lot back. It was 2013. You said, right? Yeah, it was 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were watching like Avengers movies and stuff. I don't know why. During that movie, all the memes, you think you get curious and be like, oh, let me go check this out. But I saw the memes, but I never went to see it.
And
it wasn't like people were like, oh shit. Like the quote was
exactly.
fire, but like don't.
Yeah, there's quite a few quotables in this, and
for sure.
I mean, especially from Muse, who's like the leader of the Somali pirates.
Mm-hmm.
He's played by Barkad Abdi, and then Captain Phillips, like I said, played by Tom Hanks. So these are our two stars really in the movie. There's lots of other people, and
no, for sure.
I even when like writing my notes for this, it was weird. Like I was kind of saying characters, but it's a real story, so they're not characters.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I
it's
mean?
true.
Like these are real people.
Yeah,
But
no, it is
it's
wild. You kind of forget. Well,
yeah,
yeah, you kind of forget. You kind of get lost in the story. Then, as certain things are happening, it's like anybody. When you're watching a movie, I'm like, you're probably constantly thinking the whole time, like, how much of this is real? Like, obviously verbatim quotes. You're like, okay, well, no one actually knows. I mean, maybe Captain Phillips. I don't know if he was documenting every word, but
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's some like memorable
specific.
quotes that he remembered specifically, and
Yeah.
some of those are worked in. But yeah, it's not like the dialogue is word for word
No,
exactly
no,
what
for sure.
happened.
No, for
And I
sure.
mean, it's a movie too, right? So they have to make it a little more theatrical, like
Oh,
like at
100%.
the end when there's the execution, right? Like
Yeah.
it's timed perfectly right when they're about to shoot him,
Yeah.
and he has his big speech. Like that's probably not exactly
Yeah,
how
no,
it
for
went
sure.
down, but I mean, it's a movie. We're not gonna get
No,
mad at
no,
it for
definitely
things
not.
like this. It had 6 Oscar nominations. So like you said, it wasn't not like it was a bad movie.
Yeah.
Including Best Supporting Actor for Barkat Abdi, like I said, who played
Mm-hmm.
Muse,
Music.
and Best Picture. Didn't win any of the Oscar
But got
nominations that it
nominated.
got, but still impressive to get nominated for
No,
a couple
100%.
big awards like that too.
Yeah, to even be recognized, honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Um. All right. So should we get right into the plot?
Yeah, let's get right into it.
All right. So we start on the opening scene. We see Captain Phillips. He's getting ready to go on this trip. So he's looking at kind of like the information for the trip leading up, preparing, packing. His wife's bringing him to the airport, and we see that he's going to be bringing the ship to Mombasa, South
Mhm.
Africa. I can't remember exactly where it was that he started. Um,
Vermont.
but
They're in Vermont, right? I mean,
well, that's
that's
his
where
house.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
his house, true, yeah. I don't know, yeah, the actual base, you mean?
yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, true. Where did he fly? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
But anyways, then we get to then we cuts right to Somalia, and we see Muse and we see a bunch of Somali pirates basically, and just
Yeah.
their circumstances, like
Yeah.
these
They're like a little, like,
their
I don't know,
little
like they're a little,
village.
yeah, I don't know if they're a tribe or something, or they're all just kind of like together, like
Yeah, I'm not
it's
sure.
just like neighborhood, I guess, or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a little village tribe. And then there's the guys that come in with the guns and threaten everybody in the village, saying that their warlord needs money from a shipment. So basically they have to get out there because they paid them last week, but he needs more money now.
Yeah,
So
need
it's
more money.
they're basically just showing the circumstances of the Somalians in this situation that
Mhm.
are under the control of this warlord, and this is kind of setting up, or at least explaining to us the reason of why Muse is so desperate throughout this movie, and why all of them are in such desperation, and why they're doing what they're doing, because they don't really have a choice, right? It's a Somali warlord. Like he's not
Yeah.
very forgiving. If they don't
No.
come up with money, then bad things are gonna happen.
Yeah, we're assuming he's killing them or something.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe he's just beating them up because like
Well, they
needs
come.
them at the
I
end of
mean,
the
they come with
concern.
guns.
Huh?
So they come with guns. So I'm
Yeah, no,
assuming it's
true.
killing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So this is kind of, I feel like, how they not humanize, but they kind of show us both sides of the story, right? Like it's not just meant to be the Somali pirates are the bad guys, and they're just acting illegally for just because they're bad guys, and
Mm-hmm.
Captain Phillips and the crew are all the good guys and they have to be saved. Like there's a reason these pirates are doing this, and yes, it's wrong obviously, but
Yeah.
they're pushed to this limit where they have no other choice, and they're acting based on pure desperation.
No, for sure. And I was kind of like back and forth on that when I first kind of saw that, but I was like, no, it was good because like, well, actually, we can get to that later, but yeah, no, I do think it was interesting that they did show that part because I didn't think it was gonna be like that. I thought the movie was just gonna be like they're on board and then these guys just pull up. So I actually thought it was kind of cool. Like as the movie fully progressed and I saw like the whole thing, I was like, oh, actually, it's interesting that they kind of gave us two sides to look at.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They didn't just show up and they're just unnamed pirates that we don't know anything about. Like we kind
Yeah,
of see
exactly.
their side of the story. And in real life, Muse is, we see at the end of the movie he gets arrested,
Mhm.
and he's he's in jail currently, or when the movie came out at least.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he was, interviewed and they talked to him about this movie as well. So that's how they got his side of the story, to see kind of how things unfolded from that point of view. Because next we see he's like picking his crew. There's him and another guy there that are picking a few people to go out to their base ship that's a little bit offshore, and then they're gonna go and find a target, and try and bring in a ship basically to make some money and pay off the warlord for their safety. So then we get back to Captain Phillips. So he arrives to the Maersk, Alabama. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Maersk?
I think Maersk. I was struggling
Maersk.
with that too. I mean, even throughout the movie, they kept calling it Alabama. A lot
Exactly.
of
They didn't even say it. They don't even know.
Let's just call it Alabama.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows how to say that. They didn't even try in the movie.
Alabama. Yeah.
All right.
Everyone knows what we're talking about.
All right. He gets to Alabama, the Alabama. They're in the shipyard. They're loading up all the containers. And he notices like some unlocked gates kind of as he's getting to his room. So he tells the guy to tighten up security, because there's all these little hints like as he's leading up, showing us that he's concerned about pirates.
Yeah.
And so that's another one where he's really, really cognizant of this, and tries to take all the measures that he can to try and
prevent it.
Prevent it.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was kind of funny, like the kind of the interaction between him and like Shane, who's like his first man or whatever, what do they call it?
Mate?
Yeah, first mate. Yeah.
Okay.
And because like you kind of get the impression that like I guess Captain Phillips is kind of like a hard ass, because like every time he tells him to do something, he's kind of just like, sure, Cap. Yeah. Like, like
you're right too.
Just like, sorry.
Or go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. It was just like I just thought it was funny. It's kind of like all their kind of reactions to him.
Yeah.
Every time he walks in the room, he's kind of like the guy. They're all like, everyone's kind of doing their thing, jamming. He gets in the room and they're all kind of just like, yep.
Well, and he doesn't help himself too, because like when we see when they're having a coffee break, the crew, and they're like cracking jokes, telling stories, and he's like, "Well, you about done with that coffee?"
Yeah, exactly.
He leaves the room. They're all like, "Well, I guess that's been 15 minutes, guys. All right, let's like, come on, dude. Like, you gonna nickel and dime the crew?"
That's what I'm saying.
And we found out. I found out after. I'll bring it up now. Like in the research, that the crew like kind of didn't mess with him. I mean, I don't know.
I saw
specifically in that time, multiple members of the crew actually filed a lawsuit after this movie.
Yeah, I did. I saw. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, saying Captain Phillips was partly at fault for what happened, and yeah, I'll give you more details after, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll get into it.
So then we cast off. So we see the big giant boat, and they get off. They're into the water, and they actually have a drill, a pirate attack drill. He's again, they're just showing him how cognizant he is about where they're going, and how he's nervous, not nervous, but he's aware of the situation and the threat. So they actually have a drill. All the crew gets to their muster stations, and they have these hoses that shoot water around the ship to prevent like a small ship from boarding, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
That was my exact thought too. When they started practicing off like the hosing stuff, I was like, oh shit, like that's really smart.
Yeah,
like to drown the ship, like any like opposing like little like buggy or ship or anything that's coming around. It's like, oh shit, that's, you don't think about that, because obviously when you go on cruise and stuff, you're not thinking about what their drills are. It's not really my niche. I'm not looking into boating stuff and stuff like that. So until I saw that, I was like, oh shit, it's smart.
No, exactly. It was smart. I didn't know that was a thing. But I mean, this is kind of where we're starting to see also in the movie, like it's not theatrical very much. It's almost like a documentary. Like
no, for sure.
There's no bit, like there's action per se, like when the pirates are boarding the ship, but it's not played out, and it's not shot with like a whole bunch of quick cuts or like close-ups of of actors shooting, and you know what I mean. Like it's not
No,
an
for sure. No, I
action
get what you mean.
movie.
Yeah,
It's very, very real, and it's just
they
telling
try
a
to make it as
story.
realistic as possible. They try to ground as
Mhm.
much as possible. Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
like freaking like Captain Phillips and the guys are like jumping from like. It's not like Fast and Furious.
Exactly.
He's not
Yeah.
jumping from deck to deck, doing like spin, like landing on freaking boats and getting right back.
And I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't know how much they dramatized from real life. Like,
Yeah.
it might be a little bit juiced up,
But they did their best effort to try and make
yeah,
it feel.
and I think it
like,
was really well done. Like,
no,
it's
100%. I
it
agree
feels
too.
really, really real. And obviously, I've never been in that situation, but I feel like that's what it would be like.
No, for sure.
So then after the pirate attack drill, he sees them on radar.
Mhm.
He sees a couple boats coming their way. He calls like an emergency hotline, or
Yeah.
like a call center, and they say no, it's probably just fishermen.
Fisherman. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he hits us and then right after they're not here to fish.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
it-
that was
like,
pretty cinematic. That was pretty
that
like
was a little
movie.
Tom
They're not here
Hanks
to fish.
badass.
Flick.
Hang up the phone. They're not here to fish. There's no way that actually happened. Like, if you got Somali pirates coming to you with guns, you don't have
Yeah.
guns, so you're scared in this situation, and you're coming up with bars like that. I don't think so.
My first thing too, because now we get into like this whole like thing, because they're talking about like it's like, yeah, he makes the call, then it's like it's not a drill anymore, so now they have to get into the real shit. And then we get that moment where they're all kind of like scared, and dude's saying like, oh, I didn't sign up for this, like I'm 25 years union, we don't have weapons. And my first thought was like, I thought that was kind of wild. Like, I didn't know they wouldn't have like any weapons. Like, I get there's like the drills and things that you do, but like if it's like already like a known thing that there's like pirates and all these things, like why not have like at least like 2 guys or something on board for these things? Like, if you're hiring people that are doing these jobs, hire a couple extra guys like security at like a mall or something. You know what I mean? Just have some guys that are gun
Mall
trained.
security.
Yeah, not mall security, but
Paul
I'll show
Blart
these
out
guys
there
an
shooting at
example.
Somali pirates. I
I'll
know.
show you
I'm
an
just,
example.
I'm
but
just
I don't
playing.
know. I thought that was wild that they had no defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing. I didn't actually see this in my research, but I'm assuming that they do now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
I
now
know,
we're so many
I
years
know that
ahead now, but
they cracked down kind of on the piracy, especially in that in that area, because it was a big thing. Like, it was a
No, for
normal
sure.
thing that ships were gonna get attacked. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they just like improve the presence of Navy boats, or
Mhm.
like, I don't know exactly how they did it, but I think it's more or less like, or not more or less a problem now. And I don't, maybe this movie had some impact on it, increasing the
Yeah, maybe.
public perception,
Like awareness. Yeah.
awareness, exactly.
No, 100%.
So yeah, so he actually, after the not here to fish, he does a really smart fake call
Oh yeah, I like that.
for
Yeah, that's
air
good.
support. So this is when the 2 boats are coming toward him, and they have walkie-talkies, and they can just connect to his like
Yeah, I know.
network
I guess
somehow.
they
I
just
don't know how all
they
that
stole one
works.
from previous times or whatever.
Or I think it might just be like the frequency, like you just play around till you get the right frequency, and then you're on it.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
true.
exactly
I
how
was
it
thinking it
works.
was either that, or it's like, when I don't know if you ever seen like it's like any movie where it's like if the bad guys have like the cops radios, so they can listen to be like, oh, we're gonna be in this area, there's a breaking in, so then they'll just go to another place. Or like when they
Yeah.
hear, oh, the cops are coming, like maybe I thought it was like one of those situations where like they robbed a boat one time, like let's take one of their mics or like one of their radios, so now we can always kind of listen in.
Maybe.
But it could be the frequency thing though too. It could literally
Yeah,
just be
yeah,
that.
I don't know, because I don't think, even if you robbed another boat, they wouldn't have necessarily the means of contact to my boat. So if you
Yeah,
took
maybe.
their,
I don't
think
know their
it's
whole
just a
walkie
frequency thing,
situation,
but I don't
would
know.
you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, like we said in the beginning, we are not experts.
Yeah.
We're just a couple.
Yeah, we're
idiots
gonna
that are
argue
talking about
on
movie.
for walkie-talkies for 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Riveting conversation here at the film room. So he does a really smart fake call. So he said he requests air support from the Navy, and then he
Mhm.
kind of like puts his hand over his mouth and talks like the like responds to himself saying,
Yeah.
we got your call. We're coming in with air support in 2 minutes. So the pirates hear this, and this makes one of the boats turn off. It
Yeah,
scares
you
him.
get shook. He's like, would you hear
And
that?
yeah, he's like, that they're the U.S. Army's coming. Like, we got no chance against that.
Yeah.
Because these pirates are very ill equipped. Like, they make it clear as they're showing up from. I mean, like we said, they're in a village with very, very poor circumstances. They're all wearing rags. They're sleeping in these cinder block makeshift
Yeah.
like
homes,
shelters, basically.
Yeah, no,
And
100%.
so these guys are dirt poor, and
Yeah.
again, just showing the desperation. But so they have no chance against the U.S. Army. They have
No.
they have AKs.
They're on these little boats.
and they're on a little motorboat in the open ocean.
They got
So,
They got AK-47s though.
Okay, but a helicopter, what does that do?
No, I'm just saying what they have. I'm just saying what they
Yeah,
have.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So so one of the boats peels off, so there's only one left, and it's our boy Muse, and he's soldiering on.
Yeah.
But the Alabama, they get him. Phillips gets it like to turn a couple times and up the speed, so it makes a really big waves behind it as they're trying to follow, and like
Try
I
to
said,
throw
they're
them
on
off,
this little boat, and their motor dies, and so they get away for this first interaction. And then, like you mentioned, this is when they have the meeting with the crew where they're saying, oh, I didn't sign up for this shit. These are pirates with guns. We don't have nothing. Phillips kind of has this captain speech. I guess it's not a speech, but he's kind of saying, we'll follow the rules, we'll follow procedures, and that's all we can do basically at this point.
Yeah, 100%. And he's like, hey, I mean, if you want to leave, we'll sign the papers, and we can have you flown out like in Africa.
Exactly. He's like, when we get there.
Is that what
So
you
basically,
want?
he's saying like, we're stuck here. We have no choice.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, it was one of those things where, like, as they were complaining to him, he's like, I was like, what do you want him to do? Like, you guys are in it. Like, they're on their way. Like, you can argue about you didn't sign up for this, but regardless, they're on their way. Like,
I mean, I suppose you could like the number that he called, the emergency line. I mean, they shut him down, so I suppose that's kind of why he's saying they're on their own. But like, you could say, we got attacked. We're expecting it to happen again. Like, can you be close to us, or like have someone close to us, or bring us some guns so we can defend ourselves? Like, I don't know how all that works, but
yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
But you're right. I mean, in general, like, there's not really anything you can do.
No, not at that point.
So then we get back to the home base kind of boat that the pirates have. So they've come back from their little motorboats, and they're on their bigger boat. It's not nearly as big as the cargo ship, but it has some equipment and more people. And this is when Muse kills the other leader, like, of the other crew, the other boat.
Oh yeah.
So there was like their boss, who's, I suppose, the connection, like the leader of the village and the connection to that warlord.
Mm-hmm.
And so Muse kills the other guy and takes his motor basically for his boat.
Because I guess to kind of set it up, when they were originally leaving Somalia, they said like they were doing this whole thing like who wants to. They were building their squads. There was 2 squads. It was kind of like ball, like we had 2 captains. They were picking their guys. He's like, I want this guy because he's strong. Da da da. And like there was 2 separate teams.
Now we need a wing defender.
Yeah, exactly. They were building up their squads, and then the other guy, like then when they're on the boat, because they turned back, he called him a coward. Because the guy was calling him skinny. He's like, I'm skinny, I'm not a coward. So then he was like, yo, what did you say? And then they had like a whole like kerfuffle, because as they were trying to chase them and all the waves and stuff, their engine broke. So then they came back. So that's why he was like, yo, I'm going to take your engine because you're a coward, basically.
Exactly.
And then they started fighting.
Well, and he killed him. So
yeah, and then he killed him, which I didn't think he killed him at first until like they said like he's the first to see his grave. I was like, oh, I think he was just like knocked out.
I mean, he hit him with like a pipe or something, I suppose. Yeah,
it was like a wrench or something. I think.
Yeah. I suppose that doesn't necessarily have to kill you, but like a wrench to the head, it would be pretty freaking.
Yeah, and then maybe the fall too. Like his head had hit like a step or something. So
yeah, so he's dead.
Yeah,
for sure. And
we don't
and
see him
yeah,
again.
no, he's gone. He's gone. I mean, this is really the last that we see of that bigger ship and all the other people.
Yeah, true.
We only see these four pirates after. So we see Muse and his crew, like we said, that he selected. So it's Muse, Noor Naji, Walid Elmi, and Aden Bilal.
Yeah.
So those are the four pirates that are come back, and they're attacking the ship again. So Phillips wakes up. They say, "Hey, you better get up here because they're coming again." And now they have both motors on their ship. So they catch up this time, and they start the hoses that are shooting water off the side of the ship. And this guy's he pulls out flares, and he's like popping flares that are shooting at him at the pirates. I was like, that's pretty cool, man. Like, I mean, if a flare hit the boat, would it like explode? Like, it's not a bomb. Like, how would it catch on fire? Like, what would it even do?
No, it's a good point. Honestly, yeah, when that was a pretty badass scene too. I was like, he almost got him in the first. I was like, yo, this guy's coming out sniping. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's part of protocol. He's just showing off.
Yeah, step one: find your flares and snipe the pirates off the boat. But I mean, you're at this point, you're just trying to do whatever you possibly can, right?
Exactly. Because again, like, they have no weapons, so like.
Yeah, exactly. So if they get on the boat, they're screwed. Basically, that's the whole idea, is that the hoses keep them from getting onto the boat, because once they're on the boat, they can't defend themselves. They have nothing. But I mean, that might have been something that was beefed up for the movie. Like, maybe he did try to shoot flares. I don't know how close he would have gotten. I mean, maybe he did get close. I don't know, but
I mean, if he put it in the book, he's like, yo, I'm adding this little shit in.
Yeah, gave him a haircut. It was so cool. Yeah. So they and then this is when we get kind of Tom Hanks' first big acting scene. Like, he gets his like a little monologue where he hops on the speaker, the walkie-talkie on the boat, and he kind of gives the crew a speech where he's letting him know, he's like, this is probably gonna happen. We're about to get boarded. He tells them to go down and hide in the engine room, and but he kind of gives us this little speech trying to pump his guys up and and instill some bravery in them. And I thought this was really well done, actually. Like, it's Tom Hanks. This is what he does. But
no, for sure.
I don't know. I feel like I would have been ready to fight a pirate after.
100. Yeah, no, 100%. It was like, I can't remember if there was like a bed of music under him, like, or in like inspirational music or anything like that. But it definitely felt like that kind of moment. Someone could make it an edit and throw some inspirational music under, because it's just like, and it kind of sets it up on like how they're gonna kind of go about this, because he's like, they don't know the ship, we do, so like, just keep them away from the engine, and like, kind of just like basically telling them, we're gonna try to play tricks on these guys, like, we're not gonna try to be straight up with them.
Yeah, we're gonna try and it's a big ship. We'll try and kind of get them lost, keep them away from the crew, because basically at this point, his biggest priority is trying to keep everybody alive. Like, everything he does from this point on is just trying to keep his crew safe. Like, they have money in the safe on the ship. I don't know. I guess that's a standard procedure. I don't know why they just have $30,000 of cash in a safe, but he doesn't care. He gives that to the pirates. He keeps offering that, but he's just trying to keep his crew safe and trying to save as many lives as possible. And basically from this point on, we just get non-stop like suspense, and I don't want to say action, because like I said, it's not that kind of movie.
It's not about act. It's a lot of suspense. Yeah, it's not a build.
Exactly. It's a thriller, kind of, just the way it's going, and it's nonstop for
it's
almost
great.
The rest of the movie. It's insane. It's not like you have a scene with some exciting things, and then we stop and have a little bit of exposition, and then another scene. Like, this is nonstop storytelling, and you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. So the pirates eventually, they get around the hoses. One of them is broken, or is not
Oh
working.
yeah, it's like yeah, it's like shooting
Yeah,
up
so
instead of
they
shooting down like the other ones.
exactly. So they make their way onto the boat. They hook their ladder. They're on the boat, and and then they get to the engine, or not the engine room, the bridge.
Yeah.
So they get to the bridge, and in here is Captain Phillips and a couple other high-ranking crew, I guess, like
Yeah.
his next level captains that work with him in the bridge.
Yeah.
And this is where we see the pirates interact for the first time.
Yeah, it's our first face to
because
face.
it's the first time. Yeah,
Our
exactly.
Face.
It's our
Everything's
first
just been
face-to-face.
radio. This is the first time we've actually. It's kind of like a big. This like you see like it's like your bad guy and you guys see each other for the first time, and it's like, oh hey,
Yeah.
whatever kind of thing. It's like a cool
But it
moment because
is-
we already know what's gonna happen, so everything's kind of been building to like the first meetup.
Right, and I didn't know, like I didn't know the events of this story before. So I mean, I knew that the pirates would board the ship. You see that in the trailer even, but like when that first face to face, I had no idea what was gonna happen.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
I
true.
was-
Yeah.
Like that's what I was saying. Like I was on the edge of my seat just because you never know. Like imagine you were in this situation. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know
100%.
these people at all. And I mean, you know why they're here, and you know that they'll kill you if they have to. So like you're in huge danger, and they come in and they're making demands and they're waving guns in their faces and screaming at all these guys. Like this would be terrifying.
Oh, 100%. There's one thing I got to throw in too, and I thought I made the connection, and I don't know if it was done on purpose or not. Like I don't know if it was like a cute little nod, but when the Somali pirates got on, like Shane, like his first mate or whatever, when they got on, he was like the first thing he said was Jesus Christ, and my first thought was, oh shit, like this is the same director that directed Jason Bourne.
You're right.
So when he was like Jesus Christ, I was like Jesus Christ, it's Somali pirates.
That
That
would
was
have
the
been great.
first thing.
That would have been great. Yeah, you're right. That was.
I gotta
'cause
think that's a nod. That's gotta be. There's two. That's.
I hope so.
I hope
mean-
so. I don't think it's gonna say on record, but
Yeah.
maybe it's something he's like this. Oh, this would be cute. We should.
This is yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a meme from his
From
other
Jason.
movies.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ, that's Abdul Muse. That would have been great. That would have been great if he said that. But
Yeah.
like you
Paul,
said,
just to give the head, Paul. What's his name? Paul Greengrass. He directed not the first Born Identity, but he did Supremacy and Ultimatum.
he also did Jason Bourne, the last one.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the 26. Yeah, the one
Yeah.
that came out in 2016.
I noticed
But yeah,
that.
no, I had to throw that in there because otherwise I was gonna forget about that. But I remember that I wrote that
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
But he said Jesus Christ again. I was just.
I didn't
dying.
notice that. Nice call. That's nice. Yeah. So when he gets to the bridge, he says he wants the crew because because they shut the boat off. Phillips had called
Yeah.
down to the engine room, and when he was saying all this was going to happen, he said, shut off all the engines, and basically they kind of like sabotage the boat so that the pirates can't just drive it into their port, which is what they wanted to do, right?
Mhm.
Like we get the whole hostage situation based on the actions of Phillips and the crew, because their intentions was to commandeer the ship, bring it back into port, and then they have all the merchandise and the stock that's on, like the cargo that's on the
Yeah.
ship. That's what they want. They're not there to kill people. They need the cargo on the ship.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So they sabotage the boat. So he says he wants the crew. He says, "Where's the crew?" And Captain Phillips is, walking around and he's saying, I don't know where they are. They could be anywhere. I'm trying to find them too. So he threatens one of the crew members in the bridge with him. He has a gun to his head,
Yeah.
and this is like
says
a first super tense part. They're counting down. They're like, "No, I'll shoot him if you don't find me if you don't tell me where the
Yeah.
crew is." And he talks him out of it by, saying, "Okay, well, I'll take you on a tour of the ship. You said you're not here to kill anybody and hurt anybody. Like you said, this is just business. This isn't business. You're being." I don't know. Like he kind of plays with the pirates in this situation, and I don't know if exactly like we said. This isn't word for word for definitely what
Yeah.
happened in the real world, but like I don't know exactly how why kind of the pirates would have been talked out of this situation, because he does it a lot in this movie.
No, he does. And it's like the first, and like music kind of like sets the tone of that, where he's constantly like, he's like, no tricks, don't play no games. But like, as we know, like that's constantly what Cap is doing. This man's playing games the whole time. Like immediately he's like, where's your crew? He's like, I don't know, I'm with you. He's like, and I'm glad that Muse is smart enough to be like, bitch, I know 100%. You're, I was like, their whole crew disappeared on you, and it's just y'all up here. Like, nah.
Yeah, like no, you have exactly. No,
yeah, this isn't his first. This isn't Muse's first time. It's not like this is he's popping his cherry with jumping on. Like he's done this before. We've known.
Yeah, and you're right. I had that in my notes too. That I really love that Muse isn't just some stupid pirate like shooting around and just running around like an idiot. Like he's a smart guy, and it's not just Tom Hanks like playing around with him, making him look like an idiot and being a hero for the whole movie. You know what I mean? Like if that was the case, then it would make the movies seem a lot less real, because you'd just be like, how do these pirates even get this far? You know, if they're being
100%.
so stupid, and like how did they manage to kidnap the captain and get this money and make it this far if they're just making all these stupid dumb decisions? Like Muse is a really smart guy, but he's just out of his depth because he's never been on a ship this big, and he doesn't know how everything works exactly, because he lives in a village with no technology and no, you know what I mean? No resources or anything like that. Sure. But like, but he's not an idiot.
No, for sure. The equivalent of the movie we're talking about would have been if like Najee was the leader. That dude is just all the muscle.
Exactly.
He was just the muscle dude of the group. He was just
always
ready to pop off. He was the one that was holding the gun during the like, oh, I'll give you a minute, and they're just counting down. He's the one he wanted to shoot. Like he was always ready to fire, man.
And at the end, he's the one that wants to kill Captain Phillips, and he's their. You're right. If he was their leader, then this movie would have been over in 30 minutes, or it wouldn't have been as good as it is, because, like I said, it would have just been like not as believable that like these idiot pirates led by this lunatic are actually getting this far.
Yeah.
In this conversation where he's like convincing the Muse and the pirates not to shoot this guy, you know, he says, okay, I'll take you around the whole ship and we'll try and find the crew. But he activates his walkie-talkie, like he turns it on as he's talking, so that the crew can hear what he's saying. And he basically tells them to cut the emergency power while they search the ship, because he says to Muse, we can go down everywhere and look, but you better hope the emergency power doesn't turn off, because if not, you won't see anything. That's kind of how he lets the crew know they got to shut the emergency power off, which is really, really smart. Like there's so many smart little tricks, kind of like we said, that he does throughout this movie. I don't know if each one is exactly how it went down, but I mean, super resourceful, super calm under pressure. Like,
oh, for sure.
This could have gone, I mean, in real life, right? Like it could have gone so many different ways, and so many different things would happen. But the way things worked out, like he made it happen based on a lot of his calmness and just really smart tricks.
Yeah. And to give a shout out to Muse too, like after that scene, like right after that, he was like, oh, give me a tour of the ship, he took the walkie from him. He's like, yo, take that from him. Because he was thinking, like, I don't know if he caught that last thing, but he was smart enough to realize that, like, no, let me, like, give this guy communication. Maybe, like, he might pop around a corner and say something quiet or something. So, again, another demonstration of Captain Phillips being smart, and then also Muse being smart right after.
Good point. And then, so they're Captain Phillips is taking him around the ship. They get into the kitchen where one of the crew members went to go get water. So, I'm assuming in the engine room, it's, like, super hot. Yeah. But I mean, is water really your priority right now? I mean, like you,
yeah, I know.
Like I get that water is essential, but you can last. You know, that's not what you're thinking right now. I feel like, I mean, you don't know how long this is gonna last. So yes, having water is important if it's gonna be days. But I mean, I feel like you can try and figure that out maybe a little bit later. I don't know.
100%. I didn't even think about that, honestly. I was kind of just like, yeah, supplies are good, but you make a very good point. It's like, it hasn't even, like, they just got on the boat, and immediately they're like, we need water. Like,
yeah, we need water. I'm so
like
thirsty.
Like they've been in their engine room for weeks.
Exactly. It's been like half an hour or something. Like Like, and you're in a
That's a good
life-threatening
point.
situation, like you could afford to be thirsty, I feel like. But anyways, so there's one of the or it's Shane actually that goes to the kitchen, he goes to get some water, and they almost catch him. So he hears the Captain Phillips and the pirates
talking out loud,
talking as they're walking through the ship.
Yeah.
So he hides in the freezer, and they almost catch him, but Phillips kind of turns them away, leads them away. That was another part where the tension kind of notches up a little bit. You know, we're trying to see what happens, because I mean, if they found him, would they just kill him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just
collect him and be like, hey, what are you doing here? Come with us.
Yeah. I mean, either way, you wouldn't want that, but
no, for sure. I was assuming kill, because again, at this point, we don't know how far these guys are gonna go. Like, I don't know if someone surprises them and there's like jumps out of a corner or something that's gonna pop off on them right away. So, as I was watching, I had fear for the character. I was like, I don't know what these guys are about. Like, I don't know if these guys are just gonna be popping off on people.
No, you're right. I definitely was scared for him as well. Like, because like you said, I would assume that they would probably shoot me. I mean, they have the guns, right?
Yeah.
And either way, even if they don't shoot me and they capture me, that's not really any better.
No,
that's not good either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then Muse, Captain's trying to take him to like the cargo, like to get him to search through all the cargo in the ship, because this is a massive ship. So that would be a good way to like try and kill time, basically distract the pirates while the crew can cut the power, while they can get help to arrive. But another way the Muse kind of shows his smarts, he sees a map of the ship, and he's looking around. He's like, engine room. I want to go to the engine room, because the ship's not working. There's a problem in the engine room. That's where I want to go.
Oh, and another thing too that Captain Phillips said out loud, that kind of like cued off the crew, because he was like, hey, you better put some shoes on, yo. You could cut your foot on anything in here. So then they kind of got the idea like, oh, let's put something down like in the engine room. So like when he steps in here.
Yeah, that's what he did. He said, because he saw Shane hiding in the freezer.
Yeah.
So he said it at that point. He mentioned the shoeless thing, so that Shane heard it. So Shane then, when the pirates left, called down and said, yeah, one of them has no shoes, put some glass. You're right. That was a really smart trick too. So they get to the engine room, and they're able to cut the power. And then, like you said, the first guy walks in with no shoes, steps on the glass, and now his feet are all bloody.
Oh,
he's
nasty.
He's trying to tell Muse, he's like, oh, there's nothing here because everything's dark. He's like, let's go back up to the bridge. Like, my feet are killing me. Like, let's just take the money and like, let's go. He's basically trying to get Muse to back down and say, let's take the money in the safe and let's get out of here.
Yeah, and until that moment, I didn't really realize how young he was, because Cap was calling him like, yo, like, let's get the kid up there, get him cleaned up. It's like the character's name is Bilal. And I was like, oh yeah, dude is like a kid. He's like I'm assuming like high school age or whatever. Like, he looks pretty young.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how old he was in the events of this movie, but you're right. Like, he's young, and they made it a point to talk about this too. Like, when early on when we're in Somalia and we see Muse as he's assembling his team, the Bilal comes and talks to him, and he's trying to convince him to let him join the crew so he can make some money. And I also didn't notice, is he the kid that wakes Muse up? Like when
oh yeah, maybe he is.
All the people with guns, like the warlord.
Yeah, maybe he is. Yeah, I don't remember actually. But
so I think they had a pre-established a relationship.
Oh, for sure.
Before this, but you're right. I mean, but just the circumstances that they're in, like being a teenager, carrying an AK, like holding hostages, like, man, I mean, obviously they're in theory the bad guys in this movie, but I mean, you can empathize with them because they show that side of the story, because just they have no other choice. Like, what else can they do?
Oh, for sure. And there's a scene later when it really gets into that, but we'll talk about that more when we get there. But
exactly. So this is when the captain says, let me bring the kid back up. We have a first aid kit. I'll fix up his foot. And so Muse says, okay, you go up. and send one of the other guys down. So Muse is alone now in the engine room, and he's looking around, and this is when the crew capture Muse. So they're hiding in the dark, and they have one of them shouts out to him, so he looks the other way, and then one of them hits him over the head with something, and one of them has a knife.
Yeah.
I guess they just, I mean, that's believable. You just carry like a pocket knife with you or
That's what I'm assuming
something.
it was.
Yeah. And yeah, so there's a bunch of them, so they all grab Muse, take his gun away, so they capture Muse, and then they call up to the bridge on the walkie-talkie and tell the pirates they have Muse, and they agree to a trade. So they're like, okay, we get our captain, and you guys take your money, you guys get Muse back, and you take off. So this is when they agree to the trade, and another tenseful. Is that a word? Tenseful?
Tense? I don't know. Just tense.
Tense. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Definitely tense. Another.
I think you were trying to combine suspenseful and tense.
Sure. I appreciate
That's what it sounded like, because
I
you
think I'm
kept
just
saying tense and suspenseful, so you're like, tenseful.
Another super tense part. Well, like I said, it's really a nonstop tension. But when they go to do this exchange, so they have a lifeboat that they say, okay, they gave him the cash, $30,000 from the safe. Take the cash. They give him a lifeboat, and this is when they're gonna have the exchange with Captain Phillips and Muse. And Captain Phillips says, let Muse go. They go into the lifeboat because Captain Phillips is in the lifeboat with them, showing them how it works. And then they shut the door, eject, and now the captain is in the lifeboat with them in the water off the ship. So we have the 4 Somali pirates, Captain Phillips in the lifeboat off the ship, and the rest of the crew is still on the Alabama.
Yeah.
Now we get, I guess this is kind of the second act.
Yeah, like, because things kind of like shift, because now it's like, all right, we got all that action, now we're kind of like moving on to a different point. So yeah, I'd say this is like the second act.
Yeah, so there's still lots of physical action to happen, to come, but a lot of what we see in the lifeboat is more kind of mental decisions, like we said, that the captain's making, the Muse is making. They have kind of some conversation, they have some back and forth. Like we said, Muse is not just like an idiot running around trying to do all these dumb things. He's talking to the captain, and he's really intelligent in his exchanges with him, like explaining why he's doing what he's doing. And I mean, he's still obviously threatening him when he has to, but we kind of see that he's not just there trying to cause chaos or kill people. Like, he's doing smart things because he needs money.
Yeah. He's not acting, like you said, he's not acting without a cause. Like, he's a man with a mission. Like, he knows what he has to do, and he knows why he has to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And
he keeps saying that nobody has to get hurt. Like, he's like, I don't want to kill anybody. Nobody has to get hurt. Like, everyone can get what they need to get, and then I could get out of here. Like, I didn't come here just to cause, like you said, not to cause mayhem, cause chaos.
Yeah, and right to the end, he's saying the same thing. Like, even when he boards like the Navy ship to negotiate, like he wants this to end peacefully. He's not that's why I keep saying, like, he's not really a bad guy. Like, obviously what he's doing is wrong, but he's trying, he has the best intentions. And I don't know if empathizing with a Somali pirate is really like a great cause or a great idea, but I mean, I don't know. I just think I can understand from his point of view why he's doing what he's doing.
No, for sure.
And it's just pure desperation. There's no other choice. So we see that the Navy's coming, and the Alabama is following the lifeboat. So this is when Muse tells Captain Phillips, he wants him basically for ransom. He says he come back to Somalia, and then insurance people come, I get my money, and you go home.
Yeah.
And the Navy ship that's close, that comes up to the lifeboat, again reaches the frequency of this walkie-talkie, which, by the way, has whatever batteries are in that should probably market the shit out of that, because that walkie-talkie has been alive for days now.
That's so true.
Like, they have one walkie-talkie on the lifeboat, and they're in that lifeboat for what, like 48 hours?
Yeah,
Or, like,
yeah, no,
it's
multiple days. No, for sure. I think it's actually 3 days. I think we
it
go
might,
through
yeah, you
morning
might be
and
right.
night like 3 times.
It's a long time.
It
And
is
I
a
mean, there's a
long
lot of
time.
exchanges with the walkie-talkie, and I mean, I don't know what the actual battery life of a walkie-talkie, like I don't know how
Yeah,
much
I don't know.
power it really takes,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I feel like that's pretty good. I mean, it happened in real life, so I suppose
No, for
it's
sure. No, 100%.
realistic.
And I'm assuming, I guess it's just because we don't got military, like Navy walkie-talkies. Those shits probably just last
Yeah.
like crazy amount of time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, who
But
knows?
yeah, the Energizer batteries in there, I don't know. I feel like they should market that. I feel like it's a good idea.
No, 100%.
So the Navy commander talks to they have a conversation. They just they say they want to negotiate, they want to end this peacefully, and he gets a call from the U.S. government. You know, he echoes that, saying, you know, we want to give me some time, let me negotiate. We can end this peacefully, and because really, when things get to, you know, shooting and combat, that's putting Captain Phillips very much at risk. Like, they know obviously it's a very, very tender situation that can pop off at any time, and Captain Phillips is in there, and their priority is getting him out safe.
Yeah, for sure.
But
so
the government says they're sending SEALs.
Yeah. So like the first group of people, like we get the guy that we first see, his name is like Captain Frank Castello or no Castello or whatever. Let's just call him Captain Frank. We get Captain Frank, and like, is he Navy, or it's not until like what's it called, Mike Perry comes in? Like he's a SEAL guy, but what is Frank? Like is that another part of the Navy too? I was trying to figure that out.
He's the Navy.
And then Mike's the negotiator.
SEAL. Yeah,
and then Mike's
so there's
the negotiator that comes.
So he's like the commander of the ship that I guess is like a patrol ship, basically, that just circles those waters.
Yeah.
But you would have, like, when a situation actually pops up like this, you would have a specifically trained individual, like a negotiator, that would come in to do this, and the Navy SEALs, who are obviously like a tactical execution team. I mean, again, these are all my guess. I'm not in the military either, but
I thought you were going in off knowledge. I was like, okay,
no. But I do know that ship is Navy. That I do.
Okay, yeah. All right, I got you.
And then they have they say, you know, for now, let us bring you some food and water. You know, they're trying to at least get negotiations off, like, started on the right foot, trying to have a, like, I don't know if I want to say friendly relationship, right? Because they don't want to be friendly, but they want it to be, you know, you want a good base to start negotiating. You don't want to just jump in with threats or, you know, showing muscle, because that's, if you want it to end peacefully, I feel like that's not a good way to go.
No, 100%.
So they have these little boats that bring them food and water, and Captain comes out of the back door to show that he's there, and he really emphasizes. He says, "Tell my wife I'm in seat 15." So he's really emphasizing that he's in seat 15. My guess is that he's doing this so that the military can, like, they know what side of the boat he's on, like they know where he is, so if they make an attack, they can avoid him.
Yeah. My first thought though with that is like, that was the one moment I was waiting for Muse to just like hit him on the back of the head and be like, yo, what the hell are you talking about? Like, why does your family gotta know you're in seat 15? Like, I would have been like, yo, what kind of tricks is he playing, yo? Like, tell my family, realistically, tell my family that I'm in seat 15, not I'm okay.
Right.
Like, specifically, I would have been like open overhearing that as Muse and be like, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
Like, yo, what kind of tricks you playing? Because the whole time he's on him for playing tricks, and then he hears him say, I'm in seat 15. I would have been like, yo, sit in seat 13. Fuck
yeah.
that.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, you're right. Oh, 15, huh? Yeah, you want your family? Yeah, bitch. No, you're in seat 13, bitch. But we also didn't mention that Muse gave him the nickname Irish.
Oh yeah, Irish.
Yeah. So he's
Yankee Irish.
Yeah, exactly, because he's American, so he's like, oh, you're a Yankee Irish. So he calls him Irish. He keeps saying in these exchanges, no more tricks, Irish. Don't play
true.
no tricks.
The whole
Irish.
time he's calling him Irish. There's also like one thing like that I want to mention too. Like throughout the movie, like we didn't. It's not like I think it gives a little context. Like they're constantly chewing on like this plant. It's called like khat. I looked it up because like I was curious because like when Bilal comes to him and gives him like, oh, my sister made this, like, oh, is that like a, I don't know, it's like a food or whatever, but it's apparently it's like a drug. And throughout the movie, they're constantly chewing on this thing, and it's like from the research that I saw, it says that like khat is like the equivalent. They said it's equivalent of somewhere between coffee and cocaine. So it's like it kind of like it gives you a lot of energy and kind of stuff that actually suppresses your appetite. So that probably goes with something that why they don't like why they're not really feeling like they're hungry and stuff. Like they're drinking water, but they have no appetite and they keep eating it, and it's supposed to suppress your appetite. So maybe it's like a thing that they do that's like smart. Like we don't know how much we're gonna be eating on these trips or whatever it is. But you also notice like they start to get kind of like, especially in the G, he starts to get restless with it because he's asking like, who has anybody left? Like you don't have any. And the one time he's like trying to roll up and like smoke like a cigarette, I think it is, like the tobacco, like that flies, and he's getting all pissed, and they're all just kind of like yelling at each other. So like, because there is like kind of like a little bit of a withdrawal aspect to that too. So I think that kind of ties into why they start getting heated. Like they're out of their drugs, and now like what's it called? They're not hearing back from their boss and everything. And like before, everything was a little more chill. I mean, Najee was always kind of a hothead, but
yeah, I think I that's probably a good point, especially for Najee, because like you said, he asks one of the other ones, he's like, do you have any more? Like, where is it? So basically, I think he used all of his, and that kind of I suppose tells us that he's using it more than the others if he ran out first, right? So maybe that's kind of why he's been such a hothead. He's basically coked out.
Yeah,
like he's been eating all of this drug and he's going nuts. But like you said, it has been a little bit chiller when they're in the boat.
Yeah.
A lot of it is kind of conversation back and forth because of the hostage situation, right? They're not just the Navy's not just going to attack the boat. So this is where it's a lot of we get the mental kind of side of the story. But like you said, they're running out of their drug, and I suppose they get restless. Because after he says the seat 15 thing, he goes back in the boat, and Najee actually shoots a shot beside his head, like he has him against the wall and he shoots beside him. So the Navy's shots fired. They back the boats off, the small like rafts that were up to the lifeboat. They back them out of there. Next we see there's 3 Navy ships.
Yeah.
So they call in support, I guess, like backup. So there's 3 Navy ships, and they can see it through the window of the lifeboat. And this is when Captain Phillips tells Muse, he tells him to give up. Basically, he's saying you can't win this. There's 3 of the ships. You're far from land. You're, like you said, like you mentioned, their like mothership or like their bigger ship stopped responding because they know that they can't win this either. Like there's just, let it go and let us help. Like it'll be okay. Like just stop. And Muse, this is kind of, I have a quote written down here.
Okay.
That I want to say that he said here. I hope it's not your quote.
But I'm about to find out. I don't know.
I guess so. He says,
I don't care. Go.
He says, I come too far, Irish. I can't give up. No. So this, I thought that quote, like in this scene, really, I mean, I've been talking about it, mentioning it the whole way, is just the desperation and the drive that Muse has because he has no other choice really. And this just, I thought was a really interesting quote, and it's acted great. Like he's incredible in this movie. And just saying the way he says it, like I've come too far. I can't give up. If I go back, I mean, we even heard him when he was on the walkie-talkie with his ship. They basically said, if you like come back with Captain Phillips because you messed up getting the boat, like the cargo, 30,000 is not enough. Come back with Captain Phillips or don't come back at all.
Yeah.
So he's stuck in this situation and he has no out. If he gives up the captain and they let them go safely, then as soon as he gets back to Somalia, he's just gonna get killed.
No, yeah,
So
basically. Yeah.
yeah, that's why I thought this quote was really, really interesting.
No, that is a really good quote. That wasn't my quote, but that was I wrote that one down too. I thought that was like a really powerful quote.
Worth
I wrote
mentioning.
that, I can't stop Irish. I came too far. I mean, like, hey, they're asking prices high though, considering that he's like 30,000. Like, no, we want 10 million. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn. I'm like,
I mean,
who do you like that captain? Like, do you think they're gonna give you 10 mil for that captain? You don't even know who this captain is. I don't know. They said
Yeah,
they got
no, no,
6 million before, and Cap kind of like throws some shade at him and is like, "You got 6 million. What are you still doing here?" And he kind of gives him,
right.
Muse kind of gives him a side. He's like, "Yo, shut up, Irish."
But I think this is kind of, I mean, you're right. Muse is like, I'll get into that later, but
Yeah,
I'll talk about it now. Muse, I feel like he's almost charismatic, like in his exchanges with Phillips, because like you said, like he said, you got $6 million. Like, why are you doing this still? Like, you take that money and run away, and
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? But the way, like, he's not just delivering lines, you know, and talking to Phillips, like talking down, threatening, like he's almost like it's almost like they're friends kind of in
Yeah,
their
no, for sure.
exchanges, like because they're both seeing it from,
Yeah, different perspective.
well, at least Captain Phillips is trying to see it from his perspective, from Muse's perspective, and Muse is, like I said, he's almost charismatic kind of in their exchanges, and where he's saying, you know, Irish, you know, 6 million, it's not enough, you know, like, because they're under the threat of a warlord, and
Yeah.
you know, he's gonna take the 6 million and he's gonna want another 6 million next week. Like, it's not like oh, good job, all right, you can take the week off, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah, exactly.
so I feel like it's a good way as well that they kind of showed the disconnect between Captain Phillips' perception of reality and Muse's, because they live in two completely different realities, right? So Captain Phillips doesn't understand the circumstances, and you know, saying that 6 million is plenty for you, like, that's tons of money, you can go and live your life like that. But for Muse, that's not the way it works. And he even says this, I don't know if it's exactly in this spot of the movie, in this scene specifically. Captain Phillips tells him to, like we said, take the money and run. And he says, you know, there's got to be more that you can do from other than
being
pirating and being a fisherman. And
that was a little bit later. That's a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
But you can still say it. Yeah.
Well, I'll say it now because it's in my head. But
yeah.
So he was saying, there's got to be more to life than hijacking ships and, you know, taking hostages and killing people. And he said, and Muse says, you know, maybe in America, Irish, maybe in America.
Yeah.
So I again, that was another quote that I thought that really showed kind of Muse's intent, not intentions, but the reason that he's doing what he's doing, like his whole motivations, because he just, in Somalia, this is the only choice. This is all he can do. And I keep saying it over and over, but I thought it was really compelling in the movie.
No, 100%. I agree. And that's what I was when I said that we're going to get to that point later, like that was the scene I was talking about, where like it gives like a very good perspective, because you get to even go back to it, like you get that good perspective when we're talking about like when you really think back to the opening scenes, they purposely show you this is Captain's morning, this is Muse's morning. He's sleeping like in this like bad environment. Cap's in a nice house, getting out of a bed. He's getting to shave and do all these things. Has a wife, you know what I mean? Gets to drive to an airport, and Muse is like he's getting woken up by gunshots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so like completely different. Their days started their days.
Right. No, you're right. It's a good point. So yeah, next we get a little bit more physical action. The SEALs deploy in the water. This is nighttime now. I suppose they probably waited for darkness. So the SEALs deploy in the water, and the captain tells Muse he has to pee, so he lets him out of the back door. He pushes the Bilal into the water, and then he jumps. So he jumps in the water, and he's trying to swim back to the Navy ship, and he's calling for help. And they notice him, but there's two of them in the water. And
yeah, it's night, like you said, so they can't really
yeah,
see.
so they're like, is one of them Phillips? We don't know. They don't know which one's him, if one of them's him. So they can't just start shooting, right?
Yeah.
Eventually they start shooting. They start shooting, like the pirates start shooting at Captain Phillips. Najee is freaking going crazy, and Muse is trying to tell him to stop. Right? He's like, because he knows. Meal ticket. Yeah, he knows. as soon as Captain Phillips is dead, they're dead.
Yeah.
Because the Navy ship would be like, okay, there's no reason to be cautious anymore. They'll just blow the ship up. You know what I mean? Like they. No, 100%. So Muse is being really smart, and Najee's just going crazy, shooting at Captain Phillips. But obviously he can't outswim a lifeboat, so they're able to catch up to him, get him back in the ship, and then we get.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead.
I thought that was kind of funny. Like, I don't know what your perspective was when you saw him jump in the water, but I'm like, dog, you're so far from that ship. You're gonna swim all the way there. I was like, something even like he was doing at a point when they were like exchanging food or whatever, and he's like, all right, now's my time to jump.
True.
The ship is so far away, and it's the middle of the night. Like,
yeah, you're right. I suppose his thought was, because like I said, he's kind of calling out for help. He's waving his hand. Yeah. So if he was able to call out so they could identify that one's him, and he at least created some space, then that would give him space to like basically shoot the other guys, shoot the pirates. So maybe that was the thought of his head. But you're right. There is no, and even if he swam to the boat, like it's a giant like Navy ship. You're just gonna climb up. Like how does that even? I mean, I suppose they would like throw him a rope or something, but
yeah. I just thought my first thought was like, yo, that's crazy. Is Rise gonna try to swim all his way there? Like, yeah. I just thought I was just laughing at that part. I was like, all right, whatever. There's also one thing too I want to mention too. Like, it just came back to my head and I wrote it down, but the scene wasn't that important, which is why like, we just passed over. But I just thought it was funny how they had like the interpreter. His name was like Nemo, and they had him there to speak to them. Like, he's speaking Somali, and Muse's first thing is like, "Hey, I speak English," and he just keeps speaking in Somali. He just disregards. And even when they're exchanging food, he's talking to him in Somali, and Muse is responding back in English. He's like, "Yo, dog, we don't like. No one needs you here. They don't need the translator." But that man is just like, he's there, and he's like, "Oh shit, like, nah, I gotta get paid, yo."
Yeah, I gotta.
He just keeps
I'm here to do a
Somali,
job.
but Muse never talks in maybe a couple words, but for the most part, he's always speaking English, and it's not like his English isn't that broken. Everything, I mean, I'll say it's broken in the sense like maybe like grammar and stuff like that, but like he holds these conversations with Captain and with these guys. So I just thought that part was killing me, how that guy was there and like he wasn't really needed.
No, you're right. I mean, I don't know if I'm not a negotiation expert by any means, but I feel like maybe it's a way to make sure that when you're negotiating, like everything's crystal clear, right? Because you don't want any miscommunication where like
that's true.
You think you say one thing, but they might, because it's their second language, they might think you meant this, and then you know you thought they thought you were just talking about I don't know, continuing conversation, and suddenly you thought you were pulling up to the boat, so you arrive, and then they're like, whoa, like back up.
100%.
You know what I mean? Something like that.
Right, where there is like little language things like, oh, in our language, this thing means this. You know what I mean? Like, right. Like, yo, that's sick. One person from another is like, what do you mean that's sick? You know what I mean? Like little things like that. But to me, it just killed me. Just that immediate of like, I speak English, and then he just immediately keeps talking in Somali, and I was just dying. I was like, yo, what?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Muse. I don't know how well they actually speak English, like in that part of Somalia or in that. I mean, obviously it's different for each person, but I mean,
for sure.
In real life, I wonder how broken the exchanges were. Like if the interpreter was actually more, because it might have been more that they did it in English for like the audience of the movie. I mean, it's not like they didn't have subtitles when they were speaking Somali, but I don't know. But you're right. Muse kind of was like, bro, I've been speaking English to the commander this whole time. Why? Like, I could. It's fine.
Yeah,
we don't need you here.
No.
So then we get the helicopter comes overhead and like flashes the light in the boat.
Yeah.
So this kind of triggers the pirates. They're like, all right, no, this is this is getting crazy. I have to do something. So Muse brings Phillips out to the door. He's got a pistol against his head. He's threatening him. He's like, all right, no, this is enough. I'll shoot him. Basically, he's upping the pressure on the Navy because it's been a couple of days now, and he's asked for money and nothing's happening. And basically, he's upping the pressure.
Yeah, he's trying to show who's in charge. He's trying to show his dominance. He's like, you guys are messing with us. Like, he's messing with us. I'm trying to remind you who has the power. I took his shirt off for whatever reason. They took his shirt off. And now I got a gun to his head. I don't know if that was just in the wrestling of them fighting in the water, but it kind of looked like he just took it off.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, no, I think it was. Yeah, it was when he was in the water. But I don't know. You're right. Maybe they're just like, yeah, this little fat fuck. Yeah, I'm trying to take your shirt off, bitch. Not that he is fat. I'm just
no. But just yeah. I mean, they might think he is because they're kind of skinny. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah. So then the negotiator arrives and he says he's here to talk about money. So I guess Muse's tactic works.
Yeah, Mike Perry.
Oh, you have his name. Nice work.
Yeah, I got his name.
And this is when they convince Muse to go to the Navy ships so they can negotiate on money, basically, to get the captain back safely. They say that they have elders from their village coming on board to help them make decisions or talk. Yeah. And they tell Captain Phillips to stay in the same seat that he's sitting. So they emphasize this again.
Yeah,
they give him like a care package. Yeah, they give him a care package with clothes. They say, we need to keep you healthy. Put these clothes on and stay in seat 15. So again, I'm guessing that's so that they know exactly where he is, so that, if they see someone in that spot of the boat, they know that that's him and he's, who they have to keep safe. Because if you don't know where he is and then you try and identify targets so you can shoot them, then I guess that just makes things more difficult. But I don't know. They really emphasized the seat 15 in this movie.
No, yeah, they 100%. Yeah, they really did. And when they were when they brought over like the shirt, like the care package that you're talking about to give him, they also stuck something on the side of the ship too. So then they had ears on them. Yeah, they had ears on them besides just the watch. So they had ears on them without them knowing. So when they were just talking without on the radio, they could just hear what they were saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. They stick like a microphone basically on the outside of the boat without them knowing. So yeah, you're right. So they can hear them. They hook up a line to the lifeboat because they say they're gonna tow the boat to. This was part of the negotiation. They're gonna tow the boat, so they have control over it. While Muse is on the Navy ship negotiating, so they start towing, and somehow he finds a pen and paper in the boat. Well, I don't know how that happened.
There's just paper sitting there.
Why was there a pen and paper sitting there? Like what? Like I get a lifeboat would be equipped with like emergency supplies. Like there was a first aid kit in there that he used on Bilal's foot, and like I get there'd be, but why would you? I mean, I suppose pen and paper could be categorized as a survival supply. Like if you have to write stuff, but I mean, really?
Just the fact that it was just like there.
Yeah.
Like, there was just a pen right there. It wasn't like he opened up anything to get these supplies. Exactly. They were just there.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but it happened. He found a pen and paper. He starts writing a note to his family. It's hard to read what he's writing, but he's writing.
We just know that was to his family because it said like.
Yeah, we know it was to his family, and Bilal we see is like letting him. Like he sees him writing this down, and he's like, "What are you doing? Yeah. Like if Najee sees you, he's gonna kill you." Like because Najee keeps getting more fed up, and he's a super hothead. He's like, "If you do anything else, I'll kill you." So Bilal is trying to tell him, stop what you're doing. What are you doing? So I thought it was Phillips has been nice to Bilal. I mean, nice. He's been. He wrapped up his foot, right? Like Bilal's, kind of reciprocating that. I don't want to say nice because it's not really the right word, but you know what I mean. And
no, I know what you mean. He's showing like
that was
compassion, empathy.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I feel like that's kind of the relationship that they portray in this movie is, like we said, him and Muse have this back and forth that they're kind of almost like a friendship like type relationship throughout the movie and the exchanges. I don't know how realistic that was, but like him and Bilal as well, like the way he's kind of getting them not on his side, but like at least having them feel something for him. And Najee is really the only one that's absolutely lunatic.
There's one thing too that I thought that was funny too. Like when we first got like the negotiator, like Mike Perry, the first thing he does is name drop everybody. And that was wild.
Yeah, you're right.
Like when you're just like, your name is da 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 da, and your name, and you're the captain, right? And what's his name? Like the driver, like Nelmy. He was like, they know us.
Yeah, he was like, oh shit. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know what big of a difference that really makes.
Yeah, I think it just freaks you out because they're probably like, these guys don't have social media or any of these things. How the fuck would they know them? These guys aren't. Where are they on record? That's why I was shook. I was like, how do they know these guys? Like these guys are just, we see their living conditions. They don't have technology.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know. They're Navy SEALs. I feel like, but you're right. They would still have to be in a system somewhere for them.
That's what I mean. They're not in the U.S. system. How the hell did they know who they were? So that's why I was shook.
Well, yeah, you and Elmi both were both you and Elmi, yeah, we're both like, I don't even know what a computer is. How do they know my name?
It's supposed to be 2009, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're right. Which isn't super old, but I mean, when they're in the village that they're in, yeah, it makes like, I understand 100%. Your confusion. Like,
yeah,
are they in a database or something? Like, I don't know. And then Captain Phillips gets up and attacks Najee.
Yeah.
I don't know why in the world he did this.
Nah.
I get it. He's pissed off too, right? He's like, he's been in a bad situation. He hasn't had food and water for a long time right now. He's had guns in his face for the last like 3 days. Like, obviously he's not just like completely chill, but like, what did he think would happen in this situation? He would beat Najee, take his gun, and just like, what? Anyways, so I think
we slowly see him. Sorry, yeah, say that again.
Well, I just said he loses the fight and gets tied up.
Oh yeah, and like we didn't mention it either, but when he came back after like his whole like escape thing, like Najee beat the shit out of him. So like he's already fucked up.
Oh, that's right.
He kept punching him in the face.
That's right.
And was choking him. And like they kind of let it happen because he's like, yeah, he deserves to get a little bit of an ass beating. We're not gonna kill him, but yeah, let him get his ass beat. So I think at that point, I still think it was stupid, but I think he's reached his breaking point, like emotionally and now physically. He's like, yo, fuck this, and then it's still stupid. I don't know. I don't agree with why he should attack Najee. Guy's got an AK. Well, I don't know. He's got multiple guns. They got multiple guns.
And he's freaking coked out, and he's shown that he's not gonna hold back. Like he will kill you. He doesn't care.
That's not the guy to fight. If it's any of the people you're gonna fight.
Exactly. You're right though that after he jumped in the water and he came back, he kind of beats him up. He's reached his breaking point. Like especially I feel like mentally and emotionally, he's like, this has been days now.
Yeah.
And he's just like, all right, man, like, I've written the note to my family, like if I die, I die. Like, but I'm done with this shit.
No, for sure.
And this is when we get like the execution scene, basically. So he gets tied up. Najee's had enough. He's like, no, all right, I'm killing this guy. He blindfolds him, ties him up, or Bilal's blindfolding him. And this is when Captain Phillips is basically pleading to Bilal to give it up, like put your hands up, like show them that you're done, like you know, just or jump out of the boat, like please, like you're just a kid. Like he's
pleading with him.
He's pleading with him. That's what I mean. Like even like he was doing this to Muse and he's doing this to Ball. Like he honestly like builds this connection with them. I mean, again, I don't know if that actually happened in real life, but like in the movie, like these people he's building a relationship with them, even though they're in this absolutely insane situation and they're literally holding him hostage, because I guess because he's so young, and Bilal shows hesitation as well, and he's shown that he's not really there to kill people, and I suppose the captain's empathizing as well, kind of understanding their situation and knowing how desperate they are. You know, by saying, you know, you're just a kid, like, just let this go, please. Like, you don't have to die. And then he has this insane, not a speech, but like he's calling out to his family. You know, he's saying,
just like
you know,
crying
if
out.
anybody could hear this, you know, I love you, to his wife, to his kids. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm not there. I love you. And like, you see this kind of in movies when someone's about to die.
Yeah.
And because this is a true story, and like we kind of said, the way it's shot and just the way the movie is, it's not super theatrical, it's realistic. Like, I feel like it kind of is a realistic way of how you would react when you basically know that you're about to die.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's impossible to know.
It's like it's the equivalent of a last text, last call kind of thing, where it's like, well, I know what we're saying is probably being recorded, so like, let me just throw my voice out there, and then maybe it'll just get sent to my family. But I don't know if my family. If I was a family member, I don't know if I'd want to hear that.
True.
First of all, just screaming before his death.
And then a gunshot, and then your dad's
they can
dead.
cut that out,
you're right.
but
I don't
still,
think you would want to hear
hear
that.
the screaming.
I feel like maybe you would just mention it.
Yeah.
Like, if you know, like if I was the Navy guy that heard that, you know, I'd tell the family, like, your dad, like, in his last moments said he loved you and blah blah blah. Like, but you're right. You probably wouldn't want to hear the exact recording. That'd be a little insane. But Tom Hanks is great in this moment too. I feel like he
really is.
He's swinging for the fences. He's going all out, but it's not over the top. It's really good, I think. This is when so they're about to shoot the captain, but the Navy SEALs are on their boat with snipers lining up the shots on the pirates, and they have two of them, but they need the third, so they stop the tow of the boat. He leans forward, they get the third inside, and bang. They all take their shots, kill all three pirates at the same time. And Captain Phillips is like, what happened?
Yeah.
He's blindfolded. He thinks he's about to die. He hears all these gunshots and he's like, holy shit, what just happened?
Yeah.
He's freaking out.
Which is valid.
Oh, totally. Totally valid. And then Muse is arrested at that point. Because he's on the ship, right? And they keep telling him the elders are coming, like they're being flown in. He has to know that this is all a lie.
Yeah.
And then so they arrest Muse, and he says, "You shot my friends?"
Yeah.
And he looks devastated in this moment.
He does.
Like, he knows it's over.
Yeah.
He knows it. He knows, like, it's done. There's no coming back. He lost, and this guy gives a crazy line. He's like, Captain Phillips is safe. All your friends are dead. And it's like, geez, man. Like, I know he didn't have any of these conversations with Muse, so he doesn't empathize with him at all. He's just like a threat, but like, damn, totally heartless.
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing too. I was like, damn. Like, I guess, I don't know. I mean, it probably is someone like that though. Like, they probably.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, to these guys, in their eyes, these guys are terrorists. So it's just like,
right.
I don't need to put it lightly for this guy. So I'm just gonna say,
especially if you like work in the industry, like if this is obviously not part of your everyday job, like you're not in a hostage situation every day, but like if death is just a part of your life, like a normal thing, I suppose, like you kind of become desensitized to it, and you just say 100%. It as a matter of fact, which true. I can understand. So then they come out to the lifeboat. They get Phillips, they bring him back onto the boat, and he's saved. So that's the end of the movie. So he gets this medical, like the doctor's analysis, checking up on him, and we learn there's like the kind of the notes at the end when you have movies based on a true story saying that Captain Phillips he was returned at this date, and he sailed like a year later.
Yeah, a year later. Yeah, 2010. He came right back a year later. That's crazy.
Yeah. Do you think you'd be able to do that?
I don't know. Maybe it'd just be one of those things, like the equivalent of like, well, this is my whole life. I don't know what else to do. Like, I can't just sit. Like, maybe sitting around at home makes it feel worse. Like, it's one of those things where like getting back to work just makes my life feel like it's normal again, kind of thing. Yeah. I don't necessarily know if I could. Like, again, but hey, shout out to him for going back.
Yeah, I mean, I I'm assuming that he went back, and like I said, I'm guessing that they kind of had maybe better protocols or more defense mechanisms, or maybe they had armed guards on boats now.
Yeah.
But like he probably just didn't walk back out and be like, all right, let's do it again. Or maybe he went farther out to sea to stay away from the coast, or I don't know. But going a year later after something like this, I don't know. I mean, he did it obviously, but I don't know if I would do something like that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. I gotta give props to him in that last scene too, because like that was a pretty like powerful scene, and like the performance was like him really like playing up like the shock and the trauma that he went through, and just like because I feel like sometimes when you think about it, my first thought was like when you watch like a movie where it's like someone goes through like this crazy journey with like being captive or whatever, and then they get released, they're kind of just like all good. They're like, oh god, like they just hug their family and they're kind of normal, but like his reaction of like, oh, are you okay? And he's like not even sure. Is like, oh yeah, like him and being like this isn't my blood, like this isn't my, like him freaking out, like that seems completely normal. Versus if he was just like you saw him just like wiping up, like yeah, it feels good to be, you know what I mean? Like they do those kind of things where it'd be like the moment of him being like, yeah, it was tough, whatever, wiping off the blood, just good to be back. I'll be back.
Yeah, I feel like that's more
kind of thing.
Yeah, that's in you're right. In more like kind of theatrical movies where the protagonist is like a big macho hero, right? Then like they wouldn't, something like that, they wouldn't be fazed by that, right? Yeah, exactly. They'd be like, it's part of the job, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like for a regular, like this guy's just a regular guy, and to be in a situation like that would be absolutely devastating to any of us. And
No,
you'd be shocked, you'd be freaking out, you'd be absolutely like 3 people just got shot and their blood is all over you, and you've been a hostage for days, and they had your gun, like you could have died at any moment, like
100%.
An absolutely insane time. And yeah, you wouldn't just jump off the boat and be totally okay. 100%.
Definitely not. And it's like my first thought is like it's the whole experience. It's also like my first thought was like maybe he's never seen a dead body before. Now he's seen 3 to people he was talking to for the last 2 days. Maybe they're not friends, but it's just like I was just talking to these dudes, now they're dead in front of me. Like that's crazy, and their blood is on me. Like
yeah, you're probably right. You probably never seen a dead body before.
Yeah,
most of us I feel like haven't. And
definitely not like that. The bullets
definitely not like that. No. And I mean, like we even see the shot, like he gets the blindfold like off his eye, and it's
I think it's Najee, right?
It's Najee, yeah. And his face is like, his eyes are wide open, and he's got a bullet through his head, and like that would do
nightmares.
That would do numbers to any of us for sure. So yeah, do you want to talk about Phillips right now? Tom Hanks?
Sure. Let's get into Captain Phillips. You can start.
So Captain Phillips, a few notes that I have on him. I mean, I kind of mentioned it, but just the way he stayed super calm under pressure, like especially when the pirates are boarding the ship and he's talking to them in the bridge and he's trying to negotiate basically, okay, you can take the money here, but he's trying to keep them away from the boiler room. And he makes all these smart exchanges and all these little tricks to try and keep his crew safe, and just totally ice cold under pressure. But this is like, he's an everyday family man. Like we see that what he calls out to his family right in his last moments, and he's writing the note to his family.
Yeah.
But so to be that kind of guy and then thrust into the situation and react the way he did, is super impressive.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like what's it called? I don't know what the job of being a captain of a ship like what you need, like not necessarily what you need, but like I don't know if that was like a portrayal of like someone who's been like a captain, because did it say how long he's been a captain for? I don't think we got that, did we?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because it seemed like he's been like the way he was just like going through the steps. It seemed like this is like he's been doing this for a long time, and like I don't know if it's just like the savviness of just like the movie they want to make him look like extra savvy or whatever it is, or it's just like you kind of have to be that kind of personality. Like there's only certain kind of there's certain kind of personality, or certain kind of person that like fits this mold of this work, and you kind of have to have these kind of like quick decision making kind of things. I don't know if they put them through like drills of like you know, like you do like job interviews, like let's say this happens, da, 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 what would you do? Like I don't like, oh well, I have to do this, da, da, da. Like I don't know if they take them through those things. Like where these things are just like this guy's just like a street smart guy and he was just doing these things because like, oh, that would make sense, or if this was all like training protocol things.
I feel like it's probably a
Mix.
mix of both because
Yeah.
like for sure he would have training on this because they have the protocols, right? Like they go and they shoot the hoses and then they send the guys down the stairs and they kill the power and like they do all these things that would have been protocol.
Hmm.
But you know, all the questions saying, you know, if you're in this situation, what would you do? All the training in the world can't actually prepare you for
No,
something
for
like
sure.
this. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
actually to actually react in the moment, like it's just something you have or you don't, I feel like, you know what I mean? He's extremely resourceful. I actually wrote down he should be the Boy Scout mascot. Like this guy just whatever's available to him. I mean, he also invents paper and pen, like he just creates it out of nowhere apparently. But I don't know, this guy, he like I said, when he had the walkie-talkie and he turns it on while he's talking to Muse so that his crew can hear him and he basically delivers information that way, like just super resourceful. And the last thing I have on him, it's more Tom Hanks, and the performance is just that in the two really big acting scenes we talked about it, like the captain monologue when the pirates are
Hmm.
boarding the Alabama, and the execution scene, like when he's calling out to his family and everything, like he's so compelling in both of these scenes. Like it's so real. I mean, the monologue is he shows like super bravery and strength. In the execution scene, he's he's just like wailing, like completely crying out, pouring
Yeah. He's
all
a
of this
shell of
emotion
himself.
out, like, and that's it's just so it's so good. It's so good.
No, yeah, no, it is really good. It's
So yeah,
just
what did you have on the captain or Tom Hanks?
to piggyback on your point, I completely agree. Like I find like that character, as we were talking about, like we kind of feel like you see the like the rise and like the fall of him, not in necessarily like he changes from his morals or anything like that, just in the sense of like he feels like he's in control, and then at times it's like it's clear like he's not in control, and then you almost kind of wonder, it's like at what certain point, like maybe it was him getting beat up, that was like his breaking point, or maybe it was, yeah, I don't know, but I yeah, I found it interesting just as we go through the movie, you kind of get to see him like ups and like the ebbs and flows of his character. And then again, I didn't think he'd reach that breaking point. Like even after like the writing the note, I was like, is he just assuming at this point that he's gonna die? Like, has he given up hope? And then he talks to G. And I didn't see this movie, so then I was thinking, part of me, I didn't think he was gonna die in the end. But with that scene, I was like, oh, it's supposed to be like the heroic thing. Like he did this to. But the thing is, it's not like a heroic thing at the end of the day, because not really saving anybody. But
No.
he's just like saving them time, I guess. He's like, if I just attack this dude and then I die, and then they can kill all those dudes, then he's
Yeah,
not
but
saving anybody. But
you know he's not. When he's on the ship, it's heroic, right? Because
it
he's
would have been
saving his
saving.
crew. But
Yeah,
you're right. Like at that point, he's the only person that's trying to be rescued is him. So if
yeah.
he does some reckless shit and kills himself, then they'll just arrest the pirates or kill the pirates, and that's the end of the situation.
No, for sure. But yeah, that's
Um,
all we got. That's all we got on him. If you
all right,
want to
well,
jump into Muse,
yeah, Muse was great. Like I thought, and especially like Barkhad Abdi, he
yeah,
got nominated for the
Oscar
Oscar for
supporting.
Best Supporting Actor. He didn't win it. It went to Jared Leto for Dallas Buyers Club. Have you seen that
Okay.
movie?
No, I haven't. I know
I
the movie
have.
though.
I haven't either, and I kind of want to watch it for that to see that performance because I thought he was amazing in this movie.
Oh, so did I.
I loved him in this movie. The way he showed us the desperation of Muse, like because of his circumstances and the threat of the warlord, without being super theatrical about it. Like we keep mentioning, it's kind of like a documentary style movie. So, but it's so real. You know, it's so easy. I feel like as an actor to be in a role like this and just be like, oh no, I can't do it. I can't go back home. There's nothing back there for, you know what I mean? Like being
Yeah,
all
no,
super
100%.
theatrical and
Yeah,
whiny about it. Like he's real. He's like, no, I can't do it. I've come too far. I can't turn back. He does it so well. But he also plays kind of the other side of his role, like I mentioned before, like the charisma in his exchanges with Captain Phillips, you know, saying, Irish, everything okay, everything going to be
Yeah.
okay, Irish. You know, I go back to Somalia, I get my money, you go home. So like he's the relationship with him and Phillips, that side, and then but when he needs to be threatening and menacing, and you know when he does it super well, and I just think he absolutely kills this performance.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I feel like you said, it's like he's not one dimensional. It's like this is a character that has multiple like dimensions, multiple layers to him, and it's just like you said, he has some like some funny scenes. He shows his dominance, like I get, like in the sense of like this is what I want, this is what we need, like, and he shows his like he's cunning, like he's smart. He's not like we mentioned way earlier that he's not a dumb character. He's not making these rash decisions. We had a couple moments where like even when he's kind of like trying to like when he first gets on the ship and they're face to face, and he's just trying to like pressing buttons, and they're like, yo, what are you doing? Like don't do this stuff, you don't know what you're doing. So that was like the only time we're like, oh, is this guy kind of, but after that he was kind of like, no, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we need, we want $10 million, all that stuff. And he's even there again, like I was saying, he's making jokes of like, it's like, I always wanted to go to America, I want to get to New York, get a car, like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that part is just him showing just being a little goofy kind of thing. So like he wasn't always just like just hard nosed or whatever, or he wasn't like a doofus throughout the movie. And then like we talked about that one scene that we both agreed that was pretty powerful, of him just saying that like when Captain Phillips asking him about like, isn't there anything else to do besides being like a fisherman, whatever, and he's like, hey, like maybe in America, but
Yep,
not
exactly.
over here. So then you get that side of him. So we see that there's multiple sides to music.
Yeah, and they build up the character, and again, like I hate saying character because it's a real person, but they show
Yeah.
like the side of him because we see the roots at the beginning. We see where he comes from and the circumstances that he's in, the situations that he's in, why he's doing what he's doing, and how he gets there. So like it's not just like an evil villain, right? That's trying to take over the world, or just, I mean, he does in theory just want money, but he's only doing it this way because he has no other choice. And you know, all he wants is money. Like he doesn't want to hurt anybody. Like so that's why I keep saying like he's not even necessarily a bad guy. Like it's like they make us feel for this person in this situation, and I don't know in real life if if he was actually like this, like if he was personable and like
Yeah.
he has good intentions and literally they're out of sheer need because he has no other choice. But and he's super smart, like you mentioned. Like I thought Muse was an excellent character,
Oh,
or
100%
person, I
agree.
suppose. Really, they were the big two characters, so I didn't really write a ton.
Yeah, no, yeah. Everyone else
anybody
going
else?
down is like, it's not really worth
Perfect.
like there's not enough depth. Everyone else is pretty one dimensional. Like they kind of
Yeah,
played
exactly.
their roles as like,
Najee, like yeah,
yeah, like this is my role. The character is what I did, and we kind of spoke about them in the sense of like what they did is like that's all there really was to those characters. They didn't. There's not really much more to get into with those guys.
100%. Well, so do you have any interesting facts for us, or what do you have there, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I had the stuff about like what's it called? We talked about it earlier about how the crew didn't really mess with them
Okay.
and stuff like that. But I guess I'll throw this because we'll talk about that. But I'll throw in that like that even though he didn't win the Oscar, he won the BAFTA for best supporting actor. Like
Okay.
Barkhad Abdi.
Yeah.
So he got the best supporting actor in that one. I know it's not as it's at the top one is always obviously the Oscar, but he still got the BAFTA, which is still a pretty big accomplishment. So it's good to see he got recognized in some regards for his performance.
Nice. Yeah, I'll kind of expand a little bit on what I mentioned earlier, and like you kind of said that the crew didn't really mess with Captain Phillips. Like I said, like more than half of them actually filed lawsuits saying that he was partly at fault for the instance, and on being fast, or sorry, for an insistence on being fast and making money. They said that he was getting too close to the Somali coast. Like he could have been further out at sea. And they say he was like they were mad at the depiction in the movie, saying, you know, showing that he was, you know, nothing but heroic.
Yeah.
But he actually was kind of with the employer as well, trying to prioritize making money, being faster, and that's kind of why he was partly at fault. And Phillips actually said in a court deposition that he ignored several warnings that urged him to go further out to sea.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see
So,
that. They urged him to go, what, 600 miles away, but he only went 300 miles away?
exactly, yeah. But he did say that, like, they asked him why, basically, and he said he didn't do it because he said, I didn't believe going 600 miles, 1,000 miles, 1,200 miles would have made a difference. He said, they were in this area all the time, and he told the crew that it was a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
So he based that was his reasoning for why he didn't go further out. He said it's not going to make a difference. And in my research too, I saw that there were reports like pirates were out and they were attacking ships as far as 1,200 miles off the coast. So
okay, so
maybe it would have been less likely to be a little bit further out, but in his head, he thought it wouldn't make a difference. So that's kind of why he did that. But I thought that was interesting.
No, I thought that was interesting too.
And I have one other thing. Columbia Pictures, the studio, optioned the film rights for the story in May 2009, which was just weeks after he was rescued.
Damn.
That's crazy. Could you imagine? You just went through this absolutely insane experience, almost died 100 times. You had these 3 to execute right in front of your face. Their blood's all over your body. And a couple weeks later, they slide you a little contract, being like, hey, man, can I make a movie about that? Like, can I just put that on the big screen? That'd be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's wild. They did not like were they struggling for movie ideas? God damn, man. Like,
yeah, I don't. I think they just wanted to be first to the punch.
I guess
I think they just wanted to know that someone would make a movie about it, because this was making news like at the time, right?
For sure.
So people in the States, while it was happening, knew that this was going on, and they were talking. There was a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
So I guess they knew that they would want to make a movie about it, and they just didn't want anyone else to scoop up the rights. But like, how unethical, you know what I mean? Like the dude just got back, like an absolutely ridiculous situation, and you're just trying to capitalize for money. Like, ugh, I hate it.
The only other note I have is that just about Bakhad, like the guy that played music. He says that he saw did you see the thing about he's saying he saw an ad for like they wanted Somali actors, just like on TV. He was just at home with his friend, and he saw like, oh, we need Somali actors for this movie with Tom Hanks, and he was just watching. He's like, all right, I guess we're going,
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
It was just straight up. He saw an ad on TV, and he just went. He said when they went, there was like 700 people that auditioned.
Well,
and the 4 guys, and the 4 guys that they ended up picking, they all knew each other before, and they all lived in the same building in Minneapolis and Minnesota.
Like, whoa,
yeah, that's crazy.
Did they audition as a group? Is that how it worked? Do you know?
They all came. They all came like individually, and they told them to get into groups. So then they got into a group together. But that's still crazy though, because even though they all auditioned at a group, they could have been like, okay, we like you two from these group, but we also like you two from these group. They could have done that, but
yeah,
like, what are the chances that like 700 people and the 4 guys that know each other actually all end up getting it? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously they have to pick someone, right? So someone's gonna get it, but you're right. I figured that because I did see that it was like a casting call and there was a whole bunch of people, and I assumed that it was, like we selected you for Muse, we're selecting you for Najee, we're selecting you for blah, you know what I mean? But to take the whole group of 4, I guess maybe it's a chemistry thing, because
probably.
they know each other and they work well together.
for sure.
But still, that's not what I would have expected. Okay, so should we get to the filmies, my friend?
Yeah, let's get into it. All right, so to explain what the filmies is, we have an award show part of our podcast. So we got 6 awards, and we're gonna line them up. We're gonna go through them. So the first award we have is we're gonna go into the Ferris Bueller award. For this award, it's kind of just about like a lazy moment. I think there's a moment in the movie where maybe like they just spoke the exposition. It's either that or we just felt like maybe the director did something that was kind of lazy, or the writer, or just like a character. Now I'll let you go. What's your Ferris Bueller award?
So my Ferris Bueller award, I got to be honest, it's not a great one. because and kind of like we talked about this before, and like good movies don't really have very good
Yeah.
a lot of lazy things, right? Because that's the point. Like we don't want you to just tell me what's happening. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also have a character being late. So, anyways, mine is going to The Crew. That we're in the break room, and we're having the coffee break, telling stories, cracking jokes, and the captain had to tell them to hurry up. You know, he said, like I mentioned earlier, he said, "Oh, you guys about done with that coffee?" So they get my lazy award just for taking too long of a break. Get to work, bums. Maybe if you weren't so lazy, you wouldn't have got hijacked by pirates. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I mean, I completely agree with you too. It's one of those things where the movie is just
It's a good movie.
hard. So when we get movies like these, then it's kind of like we're just like fishing for things, but we gotta pick something.
Yeah,
even if it's,
of course.
it's not even that. My thing was when Muse gets in that fight with the other Somali guy in the boat, and he kind of clocks him with the wrench. And the only reason I thought I kind of gave it the Ferris Bueller award is just because I felt like the guy's holding a gun to his head, and he's just slowly reaching back. Like the guy doesn't see that, and then he just clocks him. How did he get the upper hand on him? Like, you have a gun to the guy's head, and you're screaming at him. He's just doing this, and then pop, and kills him.
I mean, in his defense, it's dark, like it's night.
Yeah.
But you're right. If you have a gun to someone's head, it takes a millisecond to just pull the trigger and you win the fight. This guy has to grab a wrench from a box beside him, bring his whole arm up, and
That's
to hit
what
him
I'm
hard
saying.
enough to like kill him means you have to like generate some speed. So it's not just like a quick little thing. Like you're bringing your whole body into it, and he couldn't pull the trigger. That's a good one. I like that.
I had an honorary one, which was kind of goofy. It was just like, there was a dude in the movie, like part of their crew. He never had said a word, but he was rocking a do-rag. And I couldn't, like, I don't think he had waves or if he had braved. But to me, it was one of those things where it's like, that's the equivalent of having a character hold a box the whole movie, and we never get to see what's in it. Like, I wanted to see what was under the do-rag. So to me, I give a Ferris for that. Why are you giving this dude a do-rag when he could have been, like, you left the mystery. I want to see a do reveal or something. You know what
give
I
me a
mean?
wave
Like,
check, bro.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you got your waves out. This is for the audience. This is gonna get people to watch the video. I got braided up.
Oh, he's taking the
doing a do
off.
reveal.
Okay.
Got my braids in.
Ooh.
Got the braids. Got the
Okay.
lineup.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now you gotta watch the video. Now you gotta watch the video.
Check on YouTube.
We did the do
see
reveal.
Dion's clean braids that they didn't give you in Captain Phillips.
Nah, they didn't give you that.
That was probably the costume designer. They were like, "Oh, black actor, give him a do-rag."
Yeah, he wasn't even black. I think he was Latino.
Close enough.
Yeah, that's what they thought. Yeah, it was 2009. It was 2009.
Exactly. That's close enough. He's not.
They're
white,
like, where is the black guy? Whatever. But why is he still wearing a do-rag? Same thing.
It's the same thing.
All right. So next award, we got the fit check. So the fit check award is pretty self-explanatory. We just give it to the best fit that we found in the movie. So I don't know if you found anything in this one. This movie.
This is our I'm not gonna lie. Our first two awards for this movie specifically. Don't worry, they'll be much better.
Oh yeah.
But it's just not that kind of movie.
Nah.
So my fit check goes to Captain Phillips.
Okay.
With the yellow Navy shirt.
Okay.
That they give him. Like when the Navy comes out to the lifeboat and says, we have to keep you healthy, so that you have to put this on. My guess is that it's a bright yellow shirt and it just says Navy on the back.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is that, again, that's another way for them to identify him
in
the
bright.
boat. That's my guess, so they can see, okay, that's the bright yellow shirt. It's just another way to help them do that. But yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone else in this everyone else is just either a dirt poor Somali pirate who's just wearing rags, or a crew member or a Navy officer in uniform. So yeah, exactly. So he gets my fit. He gets my fit check for the bright yellow shirt.
Yeah, what's it called? I scrubbed to find something for sure, and mine goes to Captain Phillips too. So I got shook when you mentioned that, because I was like, oh snap, we're gonna have the same thing. We don't have the same thing. Mine is It's beginning of the movie when he's at the airport. He had a fit on, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of messing with what. There was effort that went into it. He's got a he's got a quarter zip navy fleece cotton hoodie or sweater on, so it would zip up, and he's got an open green fleece vest on top, completely open. So he got the green vest on a navy crew neck. There was some thought that went in there, so I gotta give it to him. And then he's also got just like a white little cotton shirt under. And I gotta be honest with the viewers, the listeners. I was cheek checking. So when he stepped out of the car, I was cheek checking. Because initially I was just gonna say he had denim jeans on, but I saw the little red. I saw the little red thing. We all know what that is. That's Levi's. He's rocking some Levi jeans.
Oh, the Levi tag?
Jeans. Yeah, I saw the little red tag. So I was like, okay. And then I'm going to throw G-Shock on him because I couldn't tell if it's a G-Shock watch or not.
I literally thought the same thing, bro. I'm telling you. I was scrubbing too. I saw the same thing. I was like, that's a G-Shock, bro.
Yeah, so I'm going to it's a G-Shock then. We're just going to say it's a G-Shock.
Right at the start of the movie. Yeah, he's looking like he's preparing for the airport, looks at the time. I was like, yes. Okay, they had to put that in the movie. Nice.
There you go. So that was my fit check. I thought I had to give that to him because again, there wasn't much going on in this movie.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the watch, especially, I thought about it. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was too much of an everyday fit.
Yeah,
and I mean it is. But you're right. There's some thought into it. You know, you're right.
That's what we got to do in these movies like this. It's like even if it's an
a
everyday thing. there was some thought went into this. It's not a work uniform, so I was like, all right,
facts.
I gotta give him something for being individual, even though it's just like a random dad outfit.
Good point.
All right, so then the next award we'll go with the 6-man award. Actually, no, we'll go quote. So quote again, like self-explanatory. It's just the best quote that you found in this movie. So what was your best quote?
So mine is from when the scene where the helicopter comes over the lifeboat, shines the light, and Muse brings Captain Phillips out to the door with the pistol at his head. And things are getting a little frantic. And in the Navy ship, there's like the control room or whatever. So there's all these workers on computers. And this guy, so there's a camera like on the screen. We can see what's going on. And one of the guys, they cut right to him. And he tells the commander, he's kind of yelling and waving his pistol back and forth. I'm like, thanks? Like, bro, what did that tell me? I can see that's what's happening, that he's yelling and waving. That didn't give me any information I didn't already know. But he said it with the utmost confidence, and he's like, yeah, I'm contributing here. He's like, Captain, this just in. He's kind of yelling and waving his pistol back and forth. You idiot. Like, sure, whatever, dude. Shut up.
That's a good point. I didn't even notice that. That's a good point.
That's my quote. It's from that scene. I don't know why that even made the movie, to be honest, but hey, it
was just filler.
It's there. It's there. And it's a great quote.
From my quote to build the scene, it was when it was when they're in the little ship, like the getaway ship, and Najee was rolling up. I think it was tobacco. I don't know exactly what he was rolling up, but he was trying to roll up something, and the boat, like what's it called? The boat hit like a big wave or something, so then he bumped and then it went flying, and he started screaming at the dude. He's like, "Yo, control where you're going!" And then the driver, we just looked at him. When the driver, I thought was what's it called, Elmi, I think.
Elmi.
Yeah, Elmi. And he just turned at him so calm. He turned to him. He said, "Calm down. We're on the ocean." He's like, "Yo, what the hell do you want me to do, man? Like, steer better?"
Lifeboat.
It was just the delivery where he's screaming at him right in his face. He's like, "Calm down, we're on the ocean," and then kept driving. Like, didn't pay him no attention. It was just had me dying. So the next award that we have something called the 6-man award. So we're calling this the Naz Reid Award because Naz Reid is the reigning 6-man of the year in the NBA. So every year that changes the new 6-man, we'll change it. But this year it's the Naz Reid Award, the 6-man. So they had someone in the movie, or it could be a character, it could be a director, could be a writer, could be the composer. It doesn't matter who it is. But they had a performance that wasn't quite MVP because there's only one MVP. So the next best thing is the 6-man award. So who is your 6-man?
Yeah, my 6-man. I feel like it has to be Like it's not one of the main characters, right? Like they're coming off the bench. I got mine goes to honestly, it's more of like a 12th man, honestly, because this person has I wrote this down 2 minutes and 30 seconds of screen time.
Okay, I don't know where you're going. I'm intrigued.
So mine goes to the doctor at the end of the movie that's doing the check, like the physical on Captain Phillips when he gets rescued. She's on screen for 2 minutes and 30 seconds and says 1,000 words. Like she like, I get that in this situation, like someone's in shock, like you're trying to keep them talking, and I suppose that's part of like the first aid or whatever. But holy shit, she never stops. She's like, okay, are you hurt? Do you have any pain anywhere? Are you okay? You don't look okay. No shit. Like, do you know what just happened? Like, of course I'm not okay. Like, you know what's going on, right? Like, you know why I'm here. Of course I'm not okay. And she just nonstop asking him questions like, where do you have any pain? Is this your blood? Are you bleeding here? Like, how are you doing? You're gonna first of all, give him a second to answer. Second of all, shut the hell up. And like, are you okay? You don't look okay. Fuck you. Like, what am I supposed to look like right now? What do you mean?
Oh my goodness.
But so she gets my 6th man just because she 2 minutes and 30 seconds and she juices the hell out of all of that screen time.
She does not let up.
Exactly.
I like that one. That's good. I like that. You say he's a 12th man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's basically on the practice squad. Yeah.
Hey, that's what sex when we did iRobot, I gave Faber. Dude was in it for like 2 scenes. I don't even know if it was equal to 2 minutes.
If you come off the bench and you go off with your limited time on the court, that's exactly what she did.
Yeah. No, 100%. She came in, hit her threes, dip.
Exactly.
They won the game.
Who's your 6th man?
Right, so my 6th man, I mean, my 6th man had more of a role in it, but I'm giving it to Paul Greengrass. And it's specifically for his style, which I felt was very similar to the style that approach he went with in like the Bourne trilogy. Well, he did the last 2 movies, but just the frantic movements. In the Bourne movies were a little more frantic, and because it was more of like a fast pace, like running, cars driving. But in this, I feel like he did a very good, gave a good visual aspect of like really feeling we're on the water. I felt like it was a lot of handheld. Like I just felt like very much like a lot of the scenes, you felt like you were rocking with them in the boat and stuff. And like he easily could have made it, like they could have made the decision just to be like very like steady cams. A lot of the scenes, like when they're in the boats, it could have been just like them just sitting there and everything been kind of still. But it always kind of felt like when they're on the ship and they were talking, it always kind of felt not like making the viewer like nauseous or anything, but a lot of times like you kind of felt them like the moving and stuff like that with it. Tried to make it like as realistic as possible. Felt like you were, because they said that they were on a set. Like there's a lot of scenes when they were maybe like on water and you kind of got like an overshot, but a lot of times when they're in there, it still kind of felt like, oh, like they're on the water. So I kind of like that. And there was one specific shot too that I really liked when they were parachuting, and you kind of got like a POV of them like dropping into the water. I thought that shot was really cool.
Okay, so the rocking you're mostly talking about in the lifeboat, I imagine, right?
Yeah, mostly mostly in the lifeboat, and it kind of like it felt like the way some of the camera shots were. Again, not a film critic. It's just like something I just viewed visually and thought was interesting. Is just like it kind of always felt like we were in their room at sometimes, and it just in the sense of like it just felt like the cameraman was like in there along with the row, and like someone was documenting what was happening.
And I think to piggyback on that too is because the way they shot it like that, and in addition, I guess it feels, you get the feeling of how tight it is in there. Like it's really like the seats are super close together and there's not a lot of room. The characters or the people everything's cramped in there. It's a lifeboat, right? So it's not very big. So you're right. It gives a good feeling of that too, I think.
No, for sure. So I want to give them props for that.
Okay.
But cool. I like yours better than mine though. Not like we were supposed to be ranking these all, but hearing your reasoning and everything, I'm like, oh, that's good. That's good. I like that.
All right.
So now we'll move on to your best scene. So what was your favorite scene? Again, very self-explanatory, but
yeah, my favorite scene is when the pirates board the ship and get to the bridge. Okay, so when they arrive in the bridge for the first time, and like we said, we get that first face-to-face. So we get the first like high level suspense and tension in the movie when when we have Najee with the gun to the guy's head, and he's threatening him and he's yelling him when they're trying to find the crew, and we get Muse for the first time, and we get to see the way he's charismatic with Captain Phillips. He's gives him the Irish nickname, and he's talking to him, and he's kind of not cracking jokes, but he's being sly, with the things that he's saying.
No, you can say he's cracking jokes,
I guess, and he's being
he called him he's like, yo, Yankee Irish.
Yeah, exactly. and the way he's smart, like Captain Phillips is still kind of like playing tricks on him and trying to riding him in circles, but he's not like just completely falling for everything, and he's making good decisions, and I feel like we just get a good sense of each character in that scene, and we get the first idea, or the first building blocks, I suppose, of Captain Phillips and Muse going at it against each other.
No, for sure. That was my favorite scene too. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, that was my favorite scene too. So like, you basically described a lot of the same reason I like that scene too, because like you said, that's the first time we got some like intensity. Sometimes we got like suspense in the movie, and it was like, it's like, again, like I said when we were describing earlier, it's like that big buildup of like, we see these two characters come from two different worlds, and then we finally get to see them meet like in person. Like they're talking on the through the radio, but then we finally get them, and we get the classic scene. Like, I didn't want to give this as my quote, because it's like, to me, it's like saying my favorite quote in the Terminator is like, I'll be back, or something like that.
Right.
Like, but when he's saying, look at me, I'm the captain now.
You're right.
Like that, everyone knows the movie for that. So like, I didn't want to use that as my quote. I wasn't gonna blame you if you did. I'm glad you didn't either, because it's like, well, let's see if we can find something else that we liked. But that quote is iconic though.
Right. It's
like
mostly
literally
for
when
the
I
memes.
told, oh yeah, go.
It's mostly iconic
Yeah, all the
for the
memes.
memes, but
100%. Because when I told my sister that what I was watching, she's like, I'm watching Captain. She says, what's that movie? She's like, I'm the captain now. She's like, oh yeah. Immediately.
That's
So
funny.
it's like, yeah, like that's all you gotta say.
Yeah, exactly.
And for people to remember and like, oh yeah, that movie. Like it's iconic.
Yeah, it's a great scene. I guess because we both had the same, I'll give you kind of a runner up with it. Just that, I mean, this movie doesn't have a lot of like kind of stop and start scenes, because it's just like nonstop storytelling. I did even write this down, by the way, that the suspense basically that we get in the movie is nonstop from 3301, which is the start of the second pirate attack, like when Muse and the crew are driving toward the boat, and they're on the walkie-talkie and they're talking to him, so from 3301 to 2 hours, 1 minute and 5 seconds, which is when the pirates get shot in the boat. And then we know that he's going to be safe. So for an hour and a half, it's nonstop storytelling, and things are happening, and it's incredible. And I mean, the way the director keeps us, like, make sure we know
engaged,
where we're at and who's where and what's going on is really well done. I don't know why I mentioned this right now, but anyways, my runner-up would be like when we were in the boat. We talked about it before, when Captain Phillips tells him to give up, and he's explaining why he can't, and just that back and forth. Like, I feel like both actors are absolutely incredible, and I just love both of them when they get this chance to interact with each other. It's great every time.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did 100% agree. I'll piggyback on that too.
So those are our two best scenes, I guess.
Yeah, two best scenes. So then the last but not least is our MVP award. So
yeah, my
most
MVP,
valuable performance.
My MVP is Barkhad Abdi for his performance with Muse. The reason, I mean, we've talked about it already, why I think it's so good, but the reason it's my MVP specifically is because if he's not really compelling and shows how smart Muse is, but also has those good interactions with Tom Hanks, then this movie could easily just turn into Tom Hanks like punking idiot pirates, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just
100%.
One, it's not believable. It doesn't flow well. It's just not good, right? If we see like we kind of talked about it earlier. If Tom Hanks is pulling all these tricks and they're falling for it each time, then it's like, how did they even get this far? But because Barkhad Abdi like makes us believe that about Muse's intelligence and his resourcefulness, the movie just works. And I think without him, it wouldn't. And that's why he's my MVP.
Yeah, I get. We were thinking alike because he's my MVP too. I feel like it's kind of hard not to give it to me. I'm doing like almost like I know that in the future that Tom Hanks is gonna get a lot of MVPs as we keep watching movies. So I'm almost doing like the thing of like, let me give it to somebody else for this
You
year
have MVP
because
fatigue and we haven't even given him one yet.
yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
I'm already anticipating the MVP fatigue for Tom Hanks. I was in my head. I'm thinking like he's like, no, he was great in this role, but I'm like, he's so good in a lot of other movies I've seen of his. So like, I already got fatigued just me thinking about the movies we're gonna watch in the future. I'm like, he's gonna get it for all these other ones. Like for like yeah. So I was like, I gotta give it to Barkhad too, because like you said, again, I don't want to repeat everything you're saying. So I'll just the thing I'll say is that my thing that really put over the edge to me for like his MVP performance, like his triple double in the last game, that made me think, yeah, he's definitely got it. Was nothing really crazy. It was literally just the scene when you get that extra layer when they're talking about, isn't there anything else you could do besides being a fisherman? And he said, maybe in America. And then once I was like, oh, this guy's fully rounded. Like now I've really seen everything. Like I've seen this guy be kind of funny. I've seen him be witty. I've seen him be aggressive. And now I'm seeing him be like emotional, like kind of like, I'll say emotional, but he kind of like putting his guard down. Like he was kind of trying to let he doesn't have to do that for the captain. I don't know why he did it, but he just felt like in that moment, he's like, man, like he wanted him to understand him to a certain extent. Like he showed that vulnerability is what I wanted to say. Yeah, vulnerability. Right. And I was like, oh, so he's shown all these different layers to himself. So that was when I was like, okay, I got to give it to this guy. This guy he's really putting on a performance.
That's actually a really good analysis. I like that you said, we've seen him do this, we've seen him do that. So we get to see all these. Yeah. That was really interesting what you just said. But I would say, I think kind of when he says in that moment, like the maybe in America thing, is kind of because he's at that point getting the sense that he's lost, like he's defeated. Yeah. Like I think he's just knows he's completely done and he's totally defeated. And he, at that point, like you said, he kind of lets his guard down because he knows it's over. Like he can't win this. And he says it matter of factually, just saying, maybe in America you can have other opportunities and do other things, but for me, I don't have that luxury.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I was gonna ask you that as like a closing thing. Do you think when he went into that ship to go meet with the elders, do you think at that point he knew? I was kind of getting a sense that he knew that this wasn't going to be legit.
Yeah. Oh,
I think he was thinking
so
like,
too.
This is my only way I could survive.
Maybe.
If I stay on this ship, they're probably going to kill all of us.
Right.
I don't know if he was like kind of like sacrificing those guys or if maybe he thought maybe we'll just all get arrested. But like, yeah, I think I was thinking, does he think this is a wrap at that point?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he was hopeful that, because like we said, he's done this before, right? And I don't know if he's done the hostage thing before, but he did say, he seemed to have known about, like you bring him back, the insurance people come, I get my money and you go home. So it feels like he kind of knows kind of how this works. But like we've said the whole time, he's not an idiot. And I feel like he kind of does know, but again, he's in the situation where it's like, what else can he do? He can't shoot his way out of this. If he starts trying to shoot his way out, he's just going to lose. So he's not like, true. I have to at least try. So I kind of think that's what he's feeling when he's going onto that ship. Like he knows it's probably not legit, but you have to try because there's no other way out of this. Well, I guess that's going to do it for us. Thank you everybody for listening. Episode 1. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're listening, thanks for listening. Lots more content coming out. Make sure to follow us we're on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Film Room Pod. If you liked it, feel free to leave us a review. 5 stars.
5 stars only.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna give us some 5 stars, then what's the point? Come on. But yeah, stay tuned. This is just the beginning. We got a lot more coming. We're really excited. And we'll see you next week.
See ya. Peace out.